type of leadership. To me, it's nonsensical.
Jennifer McCormick, hopelessly liberal. Paid for by Mike Braun for Indiana.
While retinitis pigmentosa takes Mark's vision, his family gives him hope, whether at the family business or at home with his wife and sons. He knows he's not fighting alone. For 50 years, the Foundation Fighting Blindness has funded research into treatments and cures for blinding retinal diseases, providing hope to people with vision loss. And for Mark, winning the fight means being there for his family. The Foundation Fighting Blindness. Together, we're winning. Help us end blinding diseases at fightingblindness.org.
Hi, I'm Commissioner Kenneth Allen, and I'm asking for your support to be re-elected to the Indianapolis Public School Board. As the current Vice President, I've worked tirelessly to improve our schools, advocate for our teachers, and ensure that every student has the resources they need to succeed. Together, we've made significant progress in academic achievement and equity, but there's more work to do. Let's keep building a brighter future for our children. Vote for me, Kenneth Allen, for a stronger, better IPS.
Paid for and authorized by Kenneth Allen for IPS School Board at large. Let's keep building a brighter future for our children.
We've seen that sleep apnea bully stop breathing more than 100 times an hour. But this problem is solvable, and Advent has simple solutions that have been proven to be extremely effective.
Dropping temperatures? B&W HVAC Plumbing and Electrical has you covered. Visit bplusw.com/radio today. B&W is your independent American Standard Air dealer.
Coming up in 2 minutes, Donnie Burgess recaps what was shown to the jury in the Delphi murders case, plus what Republicans in Indiana are expecting for Election Day tomorrow, and how many people attended at Taylor Swift's Eras Tour shows. I'm Kirk Darling. That and more coming up from the Technology Recyclers studios after Fox News. You're listening to 93 WYBC, WYBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 9 o'clock.
We have one last day to make up our minds. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. One last day before the election.
To be honest with you, I'm still weighing it.
She's in Bucks County, Pennsylvania.
My mind wants to do one thing, my heart wants to do another thing. So it's a struggle. It's an interior, a struggle.
Vice President Harris will spend the day crisscrossing her state, going from Scranton to Allentown to Pittsburgh to Philadelphia, ending her campaign with a star-studded rally tonight with Oprah on stage with the vice president.
In these final hours, let us remember that there is power in knowing that we are together.
That was Harris at a rally last night in Michigan, where former President Trump will end his campaign tonight with a final rally in Grand Rapids.
Under my leadership, we are quickly going to turn this economic nightmare into an economic miracle.
That was in Georgia. The former president will also go to Pennsylvania today, rallying in Reading and Pittsburgh. His first event is in an hour in Raleigh, North Carolina, where this Trump supporter was among many lined up for hours.
There must be an incredible love for this country to do what he's doing, and that's what we felt in 2016. We're feeling it today.
Fox's Aisha Hosni reports from Raleigh.
It's like mind-blowing how many people, more than half the state, I want to say 53, 50, probably even higher percent, has already voted. And the Trump team is super excited because more Republicans, registered Republicans, have voted than registered Democrats.
GOP voters have also cast more ballots than Democrats in Arizona, but Democrats have the early edge in Pennsylvania. In all, more than 77 million Americans have voted early, almost half of all votes cast in 2020. A legend in the music business has died, Quincy Jones. He produced Michael Jackson's Thriller, worked with many other stars, from Ray Charles to Frank Sinatra, made award-winning music for movies and TV shows as well. Like Sanford & Son. Quincy Jones won 28 Grammys, was in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. He died in his Los Angeles home at the age of 91. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level. On the go.
The videos may make the difference. Some light rain on radar, 66 downtown. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 9:02. Prison videos of Delphi murder suspect Richard Allen were not the only things the jury saw Saturday. Donnie Burgess reports on day 14 of the Delphi trial.
Superintendent of State Police Doug Carter took the witness stand, but only for about 10 minutes. He answered a few questions about which police departments were involved in the murder investigation, and that was it. Carter did clarify that he asked the FBI to step away and return all investigative materials in 2021. More videos of Richard Allen's time at Westville Prison are expected Monday. Donnie Burgess, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Election Day is tomorrow. The polls opening at 6 a.m. local time all around the state. State GOP Chairman Randy Head feels, despite some controversial comments on immigration from Mike Braun's running mate, Micah Beckwith, Braun will be the next governor, he says.
There's some things that are controversial, certainly, and that make people think and that make people stretch some, but I think that he's going to learn as he goes along, and like I said, he's going to be a good partner.
Talking to All Indiana Politics, early voting ends at noon today. A teenage boy hurt in a shooting at a house party on the east side on Sunday. The shots fired at a home in East Warren along East 13th. Details on what led to the shooting are scarce, but IMPD says that they found the boy at the home in bad shape and took him to the hospital. Roughly 200,000 people are said to have attended the 3 shows of Taylor Swift's Eras Tour in Indianapolis this past weekend. That's about 69,000 per show, which is a new Lucas Oil Stadium record. Many experts say the economic impact of the tour coming to Indy will rival that of the Super Bowl. The goal is to win now. At least that's according to the Indianapolis Colts, but that didn't happen last night.
They definitely got after us. I mean, they kind of did what they were going to do the whole game, and we just, we'd have a play here and there, but then we'd either shoot ourselves in the foot or just not really be able to keep drives going.
Quarterback Joe Flacco, final score 21-13, losing to the Minnesota Vikings. Buffalo comes calling next Sunday. Traffic on the 5s, Matt Baer.
You got a current inbound 69 stop and go from 96th Street to 465. And the crash date cleared northbound 6570 at Washington. And the traffic's cleared out as well. Traffic sponsored by Train Heating and Cooling Systems. Train Heating and Cooling Systems are engineered to keep up with you. They run together. Visit traininfo.com to find your local independent trade dealer. It's hard to stop a trade. I'm Matt Baer with traffic on the 5s. Follow us at WIBC Traffic.
Fall in Indy is great, but don't spend it painting. Do what your neighbor Don did. He called Rhino Shield.
Well, the home was built in 1948. Paint on the aluminum siding was peeling, and I couldn't find anyone who would repaint it until I called Rhino Shield.
Rhino Shield's better than paint, and the crew?
Painted all my aluminum siding, and I've got a front porch that runs the whole length of the house, and all the pillars, and once they were gone, I couldn't even tell that they were there.
And right now, Indy, get the guaranteed protection of Rhino Shield for 15% off the regular price. Plus, there's more great news. Rhino Shield has partnered with Green Sky Financing to offer affordable monthly payments with 0% interest loans to qualified customers.
Well, I've told a lot of people, do the Rhino Shield. It's really a great product, and that would be the way to go.
And here's Rhino Shield's Shane Smith.
Call me at 888-RHINO-41. That's 888-RHINO-41.
Don't paint. Go Rhino.
Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by B&W HVAC, Plumbing and Electrical, your American Standard air dealer.
The forecast from the American Standard Heating Weather Center.
For today, mostly cloudy to cloudy. Spotty shower can't be ruled out. Scattered showers north and west of Indianapolis. Our high temperatures in the low to mid 70s with wind gusts up to 30 miles an hour. On Wish TV, Storm Track 8 meteorologist Ryan Morse for 93 WIBC.
Still some light rain on radar. Cloudy and 66 on Monument Circle. I'm Kirk Darling. On the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Casey, question.
What's that, Rob?
Is there a dollar amount that I could give you? And when I handed you that dollar amount, you would say to me out loud, okay, I will subject myself to 2 hours of sitting through a Tim Walz rally.
Do I have to sit through 2 hours?
Well, however long it goes. I mean, you
Really?
got to do it the whole thing. Like, you got to see him. You got to see whatever celebrity that can't think unless it's being presented in front of them on a teleprompter. You got to sit through whatever local politicians. Like, you've got it, the whole thing up to and including the entire Tim Walz speech. What would that dollar amount be that I'd have to pay you for you to do that?
How far away do I have to travel to see him? Like, is it going to be relatively close for me to see him?
Well, it's going to be it's one of these states they're in now, right?
So, like, if he were in Michigan, just across the border, and I got to drive up there and I got to sit through the whole rally.
Yeah, no, that's what I'm saying. Like, I'm going to give you.
Are you paying my gas?
No, I'm telling you, the dollar amount is to cover the whole thing.
Okay,
What
the
is
whole
what is the
experience.
dollar amount by which you would subject yourself? Now, it could be Michigan, it could be Minnesota, it could be North Carolina, Wisconsin, whatever. You gotta figure it out, but you gotta go do all of that. What would that dollar amount be?
I'll do it for $150.
That wouldn't even pay for your gas.
Well, you know,
Why would you do that to yourself?
Just so that I can hear what he has to say and experience the other side, you know, so that I'm not stuck in the echo chamber.
You can look on Twitter and experience the other side. You would for 100. If I wish I'd have known that was all your time is worth, I would have totally given you $150.
I almost did it when we were driving back from the East Coast one of these weekends. I knew there was a Harris rally close by, and I said, man, we should almost stop just so we can compare and contrast.
Who are because I think this about Vance, at least with Trump, like it's an experience.
Yeah.
Although I told you, and I think you found this to be true, after about 15 to 20 minutes of it, you're like, okay.
Yeah.
I've
experienced
I've seen it, right? This is not the Rolling Stones where it's Jumpin' Jack Flash into Satisfaction into Gimme Shelter, right? That's not all your favorite songs. There sort of is the rally, and that's the thing.
Yeah.
And Trump is an incredible entertainer. I mean, even Kamala or Vance or certainly Tim Walz, I don't know what they do to those guys in Gitmo anymore. Are they still sending people to Gitmo? I think they should force them to go to a Tim Walz rally because, ooh, yikes.
Yeah, it would be really irritating, but imagine the content that we could have made out of that.
Wow, so this is it. This is the
I would
last.
have done it for the show, Rob, not for the money.
This is the last day of the rallies.
Yeah.
This is it.
Yeah, I know, and they're everywhere. What, Harris has 3 stops and Trump has 4?
You do wonder if you're, so that the kind of, I mean, North Carolina, Georgia, obviously Pennsylvania. Pennsylvania is probably the best one. So, like, by the way, are the homeless panhandler, drugged out zombie guy coalition, are they back now here downtown?
I did not see any on my way in.
Because they flushed them out. Maybe they have not been given the heads up to return yet.
That the Taylor Swift concert's over?
Yeah, because they flushed them out, as they always do when there's some big event.
Right.
And so I did wonder if indeed they have been allowed to return. I do think, though, if you live in one of these states, especially Pennsylvania, where it's like something like 26 or 27 times Trump or Kamala Harris have been to Pennsylvania. Are you sort of like we were with the Taylor Swift thing, where unless you're a super fan, your whole life is just disrupted, and you're just so thankful, okay, this is finally gone. And I'm saying this for any big event. I'm not trying to pick on Taylor Swift, but what I'm saying is if you're, obviously, if you're somebody who lives downtown or you're somebody who frequents downtown, you're just happy this is over, because somebody was pointing out the parking prices. It was a local bartender pointed this out, that you can huff and puff about how many people are coming to your downtown, but what you have essentially done over this 3-day period is you told all regional people, do not come downtown.
Pretty much.
There's no person who, and see, this is when they talk about, economic impact, this and that. They're not talking about all the people you've choked out of who are normally coming downtown, who are like, I saw was it the Red Garter? It was like $125. There's nowhere to park. So none of your local people are coming downtown. You totally ruin the weekend for the local people who normally spend their time downtown. So I do wonder, like the political rallies, are they like that? Where you're like, oh, thank God this is over and these people are gone and we don't have to deal with them again for 4 more years.
I saw that Pittsburgh had more television, more political ads than anywhere in the country.
Georgia.
I saw it was Pittsburgh.
Oh, I'm sorry, Pittsburgh. I'm sorry. I was thinking of 2 things at once. I'm sorry.
So more than anything, you have to be.
You said
glad.
Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Pittsburgh had been more political ads than anywhere in the country, and as far as that goes, you have to be happy that that's coming to an end.
One of the things I do find interesting about this time of year is the NFL and college games. They're running these candidates are running their ads during whatever state. So it was Penn State, Ohio State on Saturday.
Yeah.
There was a ton of, it seemed like there were more Trump than Kamala, but there were Kamala ads. And then yesterday during the NFL, there was the Falcons-Cowboys game. And then you had the big one, which was the Lions and the Packers. So you got two swing states. I thought that ad Trump was running, I didn't see it during college. I only saw it during the NFL. I thought that ad was excellent that he was running during the Falcons and Cowboys game. I thought it was great.
Now, I saw an ad that Nicole Shanahan released last night. It was the Unity Party ad. Have you seen that one? It's like 2 minutes long. It's amazing.
The Unity Party.
Yeah, she posted it yesterday, and it features the whole Avenger pack. It's got RFK in it, and her in it, and Tulsi Gabbard, and Vivek, and JD Vance, and Elon Musk. And I thought the way they presented it was absolutely amazing. We're gonna play it later in the show too.
So I do wonder also at this point, because it's like I saw, Katy Perry's doing a whatever, or this there was Lady Gaga or someone. At this point, like what have you been waiting on? And I would say this for our side too. If you're what were we talking about? Buzz Aldrin endorses really 4 days before the election,
right?
How many people are still making up their mind at this? Like, what are you even doing at
Well,
this?
Kurt Darling just played an audio clip of a woman in Bucks County, Pennsylvania, who was saying, I know what my head wants to do, and I know what my heart wants to do. Apparently, they're not the same thing, and she said she's still deciding.
My other favorite thing is the strategy now, and I saw this people posting this, Democrats who claim to be knocking on doors on Twitter in Pennsylvania, and there's no way this actually happened. But the whole thing now is to tell women, defy your husbands. It doesn't matter what you've told them. It doesn't matter what you've talked about. You go in there and you be, Vicki Lawrence in the Harper Valley PTA, right? Like I am woman, hear me roar. And they're blatantly, their entire campaign now rests on, will women screw over their husbands? Because some lady goes, you wouldn't believe the amount of doors I went to where men were answering the doors and the women were standing behind them mouthing, I'm for Kamala. First of all, if you got 3 people to answer the door while you're knocking on doors all day, that's a win for you. Second of all, that doesn't happen. There's not some man barricading his wife from being seen in the doorway and she's mouthing behind you, I'm with Kamala.
Well, Harris did a male version of the secret vote ad. Did you see that one?
Oh, no.
Where it's 2 guys.
Oh.
Yeah. Come on, buddy, we're going to go vote MAGA. And then he gets in the booth and he changes his mind.
So their whole campaign now is just defy your friends, defy your husbands, just lie to everyone and vote for Kamala. That's the strategy.
Apparently. And, back to that Kamala ad voting against, what your husband wants. I just go back to that's an indictment on their relationship. And if that is a person who needs financial independence from her husband, all the more reason to vote for Trump due to the tax cuts and his plan for energy, which will help the economy, which would help her be financially independent.
I would be fascinated to know, before we go to a break, how much somebody paid to park for the Taylor Swift thing. Like, what was the max number that people paid to park for Taylor Swift?
Oh, they didn't care. They were paying outrageous rates for the hotel room, the tickets, parking. Who cares? All of it. It was just a one glorious night with Taylor Swift for so many people. You want to talk about cult-like?
Go on.
I've heard so many.
You have my full attention.
I'll
let you take
so
this one.
many
Go on.
people talking about, I'm so blessed to be able to experience it, and it was just incredible seeing her, and
you don't say,
and everything she said, and she was saying how wonderful Indianapolis was. Of course, she was saying that.
You people, what was she going to roll up?
Every city she goes
you
to.
You people all suck. I would be fascinated to know if you're in the YouTube chat or at Robin Kendall, at Casey Daniels 317 on Twitter. What was the most, not that you saw, but what you actually paid if you went to that event? Because
it sounded like everybody who went had a great time. It was something they were really looking forward to doing. It was a wonderful experience for them, but everything I heard was like, this made my life. It was the best experience ever.
Okay, here's the other thing. And maybe we can get into this when we let's take a break. I want to get into this when we come back, because in the modern era where everything is available instantaneously the next day, and I'm talking from my own experience of my favorite artist has been on tour for a year and a half, and I've gone to 0 of his shows because of, in part, the fact of the cost, but also the reality of the world in which we live. I'd be fascinated to know, let's talk about this, about why this was such a big deal and how many people actually paid scalper prices. I would be fascinated to know if somebody was like, I saw some ticket that was like $8,000.
I checked the tickets Friday night and Saturday night.
Did you try to go?
No.
Because you're an experienced person. Yeah, I can see you doing this.
They were like $1,800 and $2,000.
Yes, for bad seats.
On StubHub. Yes, in the nosebleeds.
Let's talk about that because what did you call these people? What did you call them?
I didn't label them at all.
I thought I heard a cult. I thought I heard cult-like. Kevin, did you hear cult-like? It's
cult-like experience.
That's
what
I heard.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, it's Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Finally, a sports betting podcast for real dudes, not these male Kardashians that you see on television. The Degenerates Next Door Sports Betting Podcast. We do all the homework, we do it for free, and we don't wear skinny jeans.
The Degenerates Next Door. Subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Download today The Degenerates Next Door.
If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Mortgage rates are down and creating more active buyers and sellers. If you've been waiting, now is a great time to sell your home before more homes flood the market, driving down prices. Maximize your home sale now with the market expert who delivers maximum money in less time, Mark Dietl. Perhaps you're worried you won't sell your home for the price you need. Mark Dietl guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. Listen to what Mark from Danville had to say about working with Mark Dietl. I finished building my new perfect home out of state and needed out of my old place quickly. Plus, to cover the cost of the new home, I needed a big price. The Mark Dietl team was my answer. My home sold in 3 days on the market over my asking price. Call the local Indianapolis agent I trust and recommend and the agent who guarantees your home sold or he'll buy it. Call Mark Dietl at 317-755-4232 for all the details or go online to markdietl.com. That's Mark, Dietel.com. Tell him Rob sent you.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down, get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Discover cancer care that empowers you at Community Health Network MD Anderson Cancer Center by offering the expert, compassionate care you need.
When I was at my lowest, I would have 2 or 3 nurses come in to give me a pep talk, telling me it's okay to feel this way. It's normal, but you have us to support you and you will get through this.
Learn more at ecommunity.com/cancer.
Garage Doors of Indianapolis has been a local, family-owned and operated business for nearly 50 years and helps keep Central Indiana's economy strong by employing over 70 families. Garage Doors of Indianapolis stands by their products and services while they share and embrace our conservative values. So when you have garage door problems, call them today for service today. Garage Doors of Indianapolis, 875-4577, 875-4577, or visit doorstoday.com.
Get a great deal on select Kubota equipment. The BX Series is the #1 selling subcompact tractor in the U.S. The versatile lineup is built to help you make the most of your land. Right now, bring home select Kubota equipment for 0 down, 0% APR for 84 months or save up to $3,100. Now through November 30th. See us or go to KubotaUSA.com for full disclaimer.
Stop by McAllister Machinery in Fishers and Indianapolis to see their full line of Kubota or visit them online at McAllisterKubota.com.
Hey, don't take your eyes off the road, just listen. What you hear right now, your customers hear it too. Get your message heard. Text BUSINESS to 71007 now. Get results with Radio 1.
Weekend emergency, no problem. They're here for you 7 days a week at B&W HVAC Plumbing and Electrical. B+W.com/radio to learn more. B&W is your independent American Standard air dealer.
So After breaking the attendance record at Lucas Oil Stadium on night 1 of the Eras Tour, Taylor Swift confirmed that they had surpassed it the second night, setting a new record. She said that playing in Indianapolis and in front of the audience was so passionate and fun.
So I would be curious to know what the actual economic impact of the thing was, because this is when we hosted the Super Bowl, you only get there's X amount of people and they're spending X amount of money, and you're led to believe as a taxpayer, oh man, it was just straight profit. Great on us. Well, no, the Super Bowl actually lost money. And we can have an honest conversation about, hey, is there a price to be put on putting your city in a worldwide spotlight? In the case of the Super Bowl, it was for, an entire week. You're the center of the sporting world. It's the biggest single-day sporting event. No offense to the Indy 500, but in terms of in this country, it is, while not attendance-wise, there's certainly more people watching or consuming the Super Bowl than the Indy 500. And we can have that conversation, but we don't have that conversation. All we're told is about the amount of dollars spent, the amount of dollars that came in, et cetera, et cetera. But the reality was it costs a crap ton of money to put on a Super Bowl, and we as taxpayers lost money on the Super Bowl. By the way, speaking of Lucas Oil Stadium and roofs that don't work, did you see in the Bears game yesterday, they're playing at Arizona, and it starts raining in the middle of the game.
Roof.
And they said, we need like 10 minutes to shut the roof.
Yeah.
Why is it that it takes 10 minutes to figure it out in Arizona, and in Indianapolis we're like, well, it's raining in Sheboygan, Wisconsin, so we really can't run the what are we doing? I mean, in 10 minutes, they're like, okay, done. See ya. Things closed. We're out of here. Like, why is it they can do it there, but they can't do it here? Did we build the worst? Was this the worst constructed stadium in modern American history? Why is that?
I don't know why, Rob. I don't know the mechanicals of the roof. But I think your question is, you're talking about streets that were closed, the overwhelming police presence downtown over the weekend, and the cost of that. Does it offset what was brought in?
And for the Super Bowl, people will say, well, the economic impact of people spending money in these businesses that were helped. Okay, but I live in Hendricks County, and my taxes went up to pay for Lucas Oil Stadium. How does all these restaurants that benefited in downtown Indianapolis for the Super Bowl, or hotels or whatever, that doesn't benefit me at all as a taxpayer? I'm subsidizing those people's existence. You're taking money from me. That money is creating an environment by which people are spending money in a direct area to benefit a select group of businesses. And so the same conversation is to be had here, where you are taking potentially hundreds of thousands of people were coming into Lucas Oil, to Indianapolis for this event. No doubt, that absolutely happened. But when you factor in the cost to secure the thing, and then the reality, which is, and I heard this again from downtown bartenders, et cetera, all our locals are gone. The people that are there, every Friday, every Saturday, they're not participating because it's economically unaffordable for them to be able to do that. I'd like to know what the honest, actual economic impact of the 3 nights of this was after, when you take away the money that wasn't spent, the people who weren't here, the people that were disrupted, and obviously security, et cetera. I'd like to know what the actual economic impact of that was. And how much did Jim Irsay get? That's the big one, because Jim Irsay makes a fortune off anything that goes on in Lucas Oil Stadium. How much did Jim Irsay make off Jim Irsay gave away Taylor Swift tickets. What a guy. How much did Jim Irsay make off the Taylor Swift concert?
You have to also consider the long-term impact. As you said, when we had the Super Bowl, well, that put us on the at least the national stage, world stage, right? That Indianapolis is a world-class city. We can do big events like this. Same thing happened with the Taylor Swift concert. It's just proving that, this city can handle it. And by most accounts, all accounts, it went off successfully.
No doubt.
No major issues.
And I'm not disputing that. What I'm saying is the government, or governmental or agencies connected to the government, mislead people when they talk about the amount of money that came in. Because, first of all, the amount of money that
you want to see the P&L statement?
Right. I want to know because as a taxpayer, I'm subsidizing these businesses. That's exactly what's happening. You're taking money from me. My taxes go up, where the Johnson County taxes go up, Hamilton County taxes go up to pay for this thing where the overwhelming economic impact is in a very, very small 1 mile area, period. So let's be honest with each other. Let's be honest with everyone about what we're doing here. You're taking money from other people and you are injecting those tax increases into a very small area that benefit a very specific group of people.
Can we talk about a squirrel?
You are so excited to talk about this squirrel.
Peanut the squirrel became even more famous. Posthumously.
What I still don't even understand why they executed the squirrel. I don't get it. Do you understand? Does anyone understand why? Okay, you confiscated the squirrel. Why'd you kill the squirrel?
Yeah. We'll talk about that coming up. It's 93 WIBC.
Have you heard about this guy, Donald Rainwater?
I sure have. Guy was a deadbeat dad. Total loser. Not only did Rainwater repeatedly fail to pay his child support, he filed for bankruptcy and had his car repossessed. But what did a court find he spent the money on? Cigarettes.
Hasn't he run for office twice before and lost each time?
Sure has. Maybe that's why he wants the job, so taxpayers pay off all his debts.
But there's someone even worse than Rainwater. This Jennifer McCormick character is a really out there liberal.
Yeah, she's a pro-Biden and pro-Kamala liberal. She opposed school choice, she supports boys in the girls' locker room, and did you hear what she said about Hillary Clinton?
Did you vote for Hillary Clinton?
She had some great, world foreign experience. So I did vote for Hillary Clinton.
Jennifer McCormick. She's hopelessly liberal.
I'm not voting for Rainwater or McCormick. They're both losers in my book.
Paid for by Indiana Republican State Committee, Inc.
It's a new season of high-speed, high-flying Pacers basketball.
Neesmith in the lane, pound it, and put him on the line.
Are you ready to bring the energy?
McConnell takes the lane and gives it to Turner. And with tremendous force, slams it with the right hand.
Your Pacers look to perform their own magic when they meet Orlando Wednesday at 7. Tickets at Pacers.com/tickets. Pacers Magic, Wednesday at 7.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
It's Election Day Eve. Cloudy, some light rain on radar, 65 downtown. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 9:30. Vice President Kamala Harris and former President Donald Trump will make their final pitches to voters today. Trump is holding rallies in Pennsylvania and North Carolina before appearing at an event tonight in Michigan, while Harris has multiple events on the schedule in Pennsylvania. Machinists with Boeing are still on strike. Fox's Jenny Casola.
The Boeing machinist strike is in its 8th week as 33,000 members of the Machinists Union vote on a third contract offer. It includes a 38% general wage increase over the next 4 years. There's also a $12,000 bonus, which union members can split between their paycheck and a contribution to their 401k plan. It does not restore the pension, which has been a major issue in the walkout. Jenny Cosola, Fox News.
Legendary record producer Quincy Jones has died at the age of 91. He peacefully died at his home in Bel Air, California on Sunday, surrounded by family. Jones produced for several famous musicians and singers, from Frank Sinatra to Michael Jackson. Your opening bell report on 93 WIBC, brought to you by Absolute Wealth Management, LLC. Some modest declines to start the day. The Dow was off 73 to 42,136. The NASDAQ is down 35 to 20,118. And the S&P 500 is down 2.5 to 5,756. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
A true partner in your health dedicates time to understanding your needs. At CenterWell Senior Primary Care, doctors make one-on-one time with you a priority, so you can get all your questions answered and feel more confident in your health care. See how it feels to have a team of senior care experts working together to help you feel your best. CenterWell, it's about time. Schedule a tour today at meetcenterwell.com. That's meetcenterwell.com.
It is November, and that means Christmas is right around the corner. And this year, for Christmas, give yourself something. Give yourself the gift of getting your confidence back. And if you're a dude, you might be able to do that by heading over to We Grow Hair Indie. Now, let me tell you how this works. And I know from experience because I've done it. You call today, 317-522-2995. 317-522-2995. And when you call, you're going to schedule a totally free, no hassle, no obligation consultation. Then you're going to head over to We Grow Hair Indie. They're going to take a look at what's going on the top of your head, and they're going to give you some suggestions on how they might be able to improve that. And then you take all the information, you make the call. It really is that simple. And in the meantime, you can see how other guys have gotten their confidence back by heading over to WeGrowHairIndie.com. WeGrowHairIndie.com. Don't wait. Call today, 317-522-2995. 317-522-2995. WeGrowHairIndie.com. Tell them Rob sent you.
As the leaves turn golden and the air grows crisp, there's something special brewing. Something that captures the very essence of fall. Introducing Pumpkin Something, a smooth, spice-filled bourbon infused with the perfect mixture of allspice, pumpkin, clove, cinnamon, and ginger. It's the taste of autumn in a glass, a sip of warmth on a cool evening. Crafted with care and precision at Hotel Tango Distillery. Known for its commitment to quality and innovation, this new blend promises a unique tasting experience that celebrates the essence of fall. Pumpkin Something from Hotel Tango Distillery is guaranteed to elevate any fall cocktail. Add it to your warm cider in the evening or to your fall lattes. You can do anything with Pumpkin Something from Hotel Tango Distillery. Available for a limited time only. Visit your local liquor store and bring home the taste of fall with Pumpkin Something from Hotel Tango Distillery, because autumn never tasted so good. Sip responsibly.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIPC.
I bet you didn't expect a squirrel would take over your Twitter feed on Saturday. It is the Kendall and Casey Show. It's 93 WIBC. So after anonymous complaints, officers from the State Department of Environmental Conservation took this squirrel, this influencer squirrel, and a raccoon named Fred from Mark Longo's home.
This whole story is complete crap, and everyone should be outraged by it. Before we get to that, though, good job, Kevin, coming in with the Eddie Money deep cut there. He had threatened to play Taylor Swift all day, and I said that would be the worst possible choice you could make if you desired to live until noon, and he made the correct choice. So quite a turnaround there, Kevin. Wonderful job. All right, so I asked this on, I don't know, whatever day the story broke. I'm like, I just want to know why they killed the squirrel.
To test for rabies is the official answer.
So let's get to that in a second, because to me it's like, okay, so this squirrel's not harming anyone. It's a celebrity internet squirrel, which that is a commentary on our society now. Hey, how do you earn a living? Well, I own I own a celebrity internet squirrel. So today, and I asked, I said, I don't understand. I feel like there must be something I'm missing here with this, because none of this makes any sense to me. And it turns out, no, there's not anything I'm missing. It's just another example of why everyone should totally hate everything about the government. All right, so today.com has a whole expose on this, which is fascinating. And here's what they wrote, okay? Because I thought, did the squirrel do something? Did it escape? Did it commit heinous crimes against humanity? Did the squirrel hold up a liquor store? Like what, was there some sort of, manhunt for the squirrel? Because no. According to NBC News, the DEC, which is the organization that polices, Department of Environmental Conservation, in New York, the Department of Environmental Conservation received multiple anonymous complaints about Peanut and showed up to the home with, quote, at least 6 officers to take Peanut. And now there's there's another animal involved in this, a raccoon, which is also a celebrity raccoon.
Yeah.
So they received anonymous complaints, and they sent at least 6 people to deal with this. 6 people to deal with a celebrity squirrel and a raccoon, Casey.
Correct.
All right.
Bureaucrats flexing their authority.
It goes on to say, in a joint statement, the DEC and Chemin County Department of Health say they are, quote, coordinating to ensure the protection of public health related to the illegal possession of wild animals that have the potential to carry the rabies virus.
Yes.
The potential. So they went there on an anonymous complaint. It wasn't like the squirrel had escaped and was chowing the heads off little children in the
Wreaking
street.
havoc, right?
It wasn't as though the squirrel had harmed anyone. They received an anonymous complaint. They go because the squirrel has potential to have rabies. Not the squirrel had rabies. The squirrel was living in a home, as was the raccoon, minding its own business. It's on the internet. The owners are making apparently large amounts of money off the squirrel and the raccoon. Don't you think if you got a cash cow, you're going to take care of it? So no proof that the squirrel had rabies, was infected with rabies, was infecting other people with rabies. And then, only then, after they, on anonymous tips, invaded the home and seized the squirrel, did the squirrel bite one of these goons who was involved in seizing the squirrel. And then once the squirrel bit one of the goons that seized the squirrel, they said, oh, we got to euthanize it now. We got to find out if it had rabies or not.
Correct. That's what even the Associated Press is reporting this, that a person involved with the investigation was bitten by the squirrel. To test for rabies, both animals were euthanized. Now, the owner of the squirrel, Mark Longo, he said that he was in the process of filing paperwork to get Peanut certified as an educational animal right when it was seized, because Mark and his wife, they own a animal education program.
So the Today.com says the DEC also notes that it's illegal to keep young wildlife as pets since they are, quote, not well suited for life in captivity. Plus, they may carry diseases that can be given to people. But they weren't. No one was being harmed. There was no person who put their name behind it saying this crime against humanity has happened to me or my neighbor or my friend or my father. There was no problem. This is the most government thing ever. The squirrel, by all accounts, seems happy and healthy. The raccoon, by all accounts, seems happy and healthy. It's not like they were apparently letting the squirrel or the raccoon run free in the streets, causing mass chaos or intimidating tiny children. The people had a raccoon and a squirrel in their home, by all accounts, loved for, cared for, taken care of, clearly visible all over the internet. And the government shows up and goes, well, there's no actual problem here, but there could be a problem. So we're going to seize these animals. And then, oh, the squirrel bit somebody. Well, now we got to, and they killed them both.
Yes, they did.
The raccoon didn't have anything to do with anything.
Right.
Why did they kill the raccoon? The raccoon didn't bite anybody. Well, we got to kill him too.
Okay, so here is the owner of Peanut the squirrel talking about the experience when the authorities showed up to his house.
I was sat outside my house for 5 hours. I had to get a police escort to my bathroom. I wasn't even allowed to feed my rescue horses breakfast or lunch. I was sat there like a criminal after they interrogated my wife to check out her immigration status, then proceeded to ask me if I had cameras in my house, then proceeded to go through every cabinet, nook, and cranny of my house for a squirrel and a raccoon.
They got a search warrant?
They got a search warrant. 4 departments and a judge signed off on a search warrant for a squirrel and a raccoon. And then they took them and killed them.
Why did they go through all that to get a search warrant for an animal that had been with you very safely, and the world witnessed this for 7 years? Why now suddenly did they show up with a search warrant and take these animals?
We haven't a clue. We don't know who made the complaints. Again, Peanut was an indoor squirrel, not harming anybody. He's been with us for 7 years. Not a single complaint was ever filed for this animal. We had him for 7.5 years. He became the world's most famous squirrel. We weren't hiding him by any means. He was all over TikTok. He became the first squirrel on TikTok to ever hit 1 million followers.
Lots of followers, not only on TikTok, but on Instagram. It's interesting that they asked him if he had any cameras in the house. Of course they do. He has a phone. It's a squirrel influencer on social media. How do you think he got him there with the cameras?
Well, also, again, they sent 6 people. It's not like, okay, let's say you do get an anonymous complaint. By all accounts, there was no complaint of the squirrels being abused or the raccoons being abused. Let's say you get these complaints. 6 people? Like, wouldn't you send a person, hey, can I see the squirrel? Like, hey, can I examine the raccoon? We have 15 million people who have illegally poured into our country over the past 4 years, and we don't have enough people to secure the southern border, but we have 6 people to go investigate a celebrity squirrel and by the way, okay, let's talk a little bit about local zoning, right? Let's go to Rob's world, which is local zoning codes, etc. All right. There are clearly, there are reasons in municipalities, etc., depending on where you live. Now, I don't know about this place. Are they in the county? Are they in the city? Whatever. There are zoning rules and codes around hey, if you live in a city or a high densely populated area, you can't have a rooster. Why? Because you can disturb your neighbors. If you live in a densely populated area, there's a good chance you can't just stick, a cow in the backyard, right? There's different animals you can have based on where you live. But I've never heard of what essentially amount to a house pet. It's a squirrel. It's basically a hamster, right? That doesn't leave the house. And is a raccoon, I guess, an odd animal to have in your house? Sure. But as long as it's not out torturing other animals, what in the world do you care if someone has a raccoon and a squirrel in their house if they're taking care of them?
So the owner of the squirrel said that he was in the process of filing paperwork to get Peanut certified as an educational animal when he was seized. Now, this is on the owner. He should have filed that paperwork already. He did have 7 years to do it. But look at the government. Look at the government coming into your home and seizing one of your animals rather than helping you to complete the paperwork.
Somebody made a good point, which is if Peanut had been an illegal immigrant, and I saw this multiple times yesterday, they would have paid hundreds of dollars to put him up in a hotel.
Right, they would have given him a credit card, and
this is a total lack of discretion, right? Because let's say you go there and they're supposed to have some sort of permit and they don't, or paperwork and they don't. You look at it, you see clearly the squirrel's a beloved member of the family, clearly not being abused, clearly having a very good time, because nobody's alleging they were doing any of that. There's no the government went there and was like, we found this squirrel living in squalor.
Yeah.
Well, it's a squirrel, so how would it even know? But wouldn't the common sense thing be, okay, you have this beloved member of your family, you are missing A, B, or C, we're going to give you a month or whatever to have the proper
paperwork filled out,
and then we will respond accordingly. Thank you. Have a nice day. I'll see you in a month. How hard was that?
This is just a bureaucrat flexing their power. But why does this entire Peanut story matter? Well, what if Peanut was a cat or a dog? What if Peanut was your spouse? What if Peanut was your child? The government can just come in and take them and do what they want. And here's Kamala Harris. She's saying this on camera. Now, in this clip, she's talking about your gun. But what's the difference, Joe? Your gun, your pet, your family? Listen to this.
And just because you legally possess a gun in the sanctity of your locked home doesn't mean that we're not going to walk into that home and check to see if you're being responsible and safe in the way you conduct your affairs.
Yeah, this is a horrible story. I know we got to take a break, but man, this is why everyone should hate the government, because there's just a total lack of discretion, a total lack of common sense. They created a problem that did not exist. They created the problem, and then once they created the problem, they go, well, we got to solve the problem because, well, we created the problem.
You're listening to Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel Show, 3:06 this afternoon. It's election eve. Remember, kids, put out your stockings and Mike Braun might come down your chimney. 3 to 7, 93 WIBC.
Transform your home with Galaxy Concrete Coatings. Say goodbye to cracked, stained floors and hello to durable, stunning surfaces that last. Their cutting-edge technology ensures a beautiful finish every time, and you get to pick out from their many colors. Upgrade your home today like I did. Galaxy Concrete Coatings. They're for garage floors, driveways, pool decks, and patios. They come with a lifetime warranty and one-day professional installation. Call now for a free estimate. 877-417-0635. They're also online at galaxyconcretecoatings.com.
Jennifer McCormick couldn't name a single thing she disagreed with Hillary Clinton on. That's because, just like Hillary, McCormick backed failed liberal policies. She endorsed Bidenomics, said she'd be honored to serve in Biden's administration. She opposed school choice, and she even supports biological boys playing girl sports.
Did you vote for Hillary Clinton?
I did vote for Hillary Clinton. She had some great, world foreign policy experience. So, I did vote for Hillary Clinton.
It gets worse. Here's what Jennifer McCormick says about Donald Trump.
I cannot get behind that. Never voted for Trump, never will vote for Trump, never was behind Trump, never will be behind Trump. I just cannot get behind a party who is behind that type of leadership. To me, it's nonsensical.
Jennifer McCormick, hopelessly liberal. Paid for by Mike Braun for Indiana.
Looking for a great place to go for car care?
Hi, this is Lonnie Hinkle from Jiffy Lube, and I'd like to share the top 5 reasons that every Hoosier should trust Jiffy Lube to help keep their car running safe and well. Number 5, our computer system holds the maintenance data for every make and model. We know exactly what your car needs and when it needs to be done. Number 4, Jiffy Lube's training system is in the Training Magazine Hall of Fame. Along with companies like Ritz-Carlton, Starbucks, and Nordstrom's, our team does the job right. Number 3, you never need an appointment. We are ready to serve you whenever it works best for you, so come on in and see us. Number 2, Jiffy Lube accepts competitor coupons so you can get our great service at the desperate price of our competitors. And number 1, Jiffy Lube is a one-stop maintenance shop, and we make it easy for you to take great care of your car. Avoid the repair shop by getting your maintenance done at Jiffy Lube. And we now offer brakes, tires, tune-ups, and minor repairs at most stores.
So head to Jiffy Lube. There's really no reason to take your car anywhere else.
Attorney General Todd Rokita is fighting to protect Hoosiers. That's why the Indiana State Police Alliance has endorsed Todd Rokita for re-election. They know Todd Rokita is protecting our jobs, protecting us from crime, and working to end illegal immigration, always putting Hoosiers first. Attorney General Todd Rokita is fighting to protect Hoosiers.
Paid for by the Todd Rokita Election Committee.
Surprise! Your expenses this month were way higher than you expected. Also, you forgot to renew your website domain, and now you're in a bidding war.
You should see the look on your face.
At Progressive, we know small business owners don't usually like surprises because they cost you money. But a good surprise that could save you money? Getting a commercial auto quote from Progressive.
Plus, the fridge died in the break room, and now everything smells weird.
Surprise yourself. See if you can save in as little as 7 minutes at ProgressiveCommercial.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates.
You want to listen all day to WIBC, but you don't always have time. Don't worry. There's a podcast for that. The WIBC Mashup. Daily highlights from your favorite hosts, Tony Katz, Kendall and Casey, and Hammer and Nigel. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts.
I'm gonna rid myself a house in the shade of the freeway.
Okay, 2 options, Casey.
Yeah.
We can either laugh at the media or we can just listen to this.
Let's listen to this. Now let's laugh at the media.
No, wait. Here we go. Get it up, Kev.
I'll go on home and lay my body down. When the morning light comes streaming in, I'll get up and do it again.
Yeah.
All right. That's great stuff, isn't it?
Yeah.
For most of my adult life, I believed that was how love was actually supposed to be. Like, I believed it was like a Jackson Brown song. And then you realize those guys were just total shysters, and it didn't even work that way for them. And they hoodwinked a whole portion of the country in the 1970s and 80s.
Talking about hoodwinking, how about the media? Well, I just think, the lyric in that song, I'm going to get up and do it again.
Yeah.
Isn't that what everybody who goes to work every day is doing? They're
get
up and do it again.
I'm going to find myself a girl who can show me what laughter means, and we'll fill in the missing colors in each other's paint by number dreams. You don't even have to know what that means, and it sounds
it's
great.
Such beautiful imagery.
Well, that's not how it works at all, though, Kevin. Let me fill you in on how it actually goes. Those guys should be on an episode of American Greed. The media, and we totally. By the way, it's Kendall and Casey show. I'm Rob Casey's here. The media there's no doubt. I mean, we've known for a very long time they are but an arm of the Democrat Party.
Mm-hmm.
But I have never seen it like this, Casey. I have never seen the media openly. I mean, they're not even shy about it. And now it's happening here in this state where the media is suspending all logic or reasonable belief. And they are just throwing things out at you. And they're going, pay no attention to history or actual data.
Right.
Just believe what this Jennifer McCormick can win stuff is, it just blows my mind at how stupid they're going to look tomorrow. But they'll just move on down the road from it, and they'll never acknowledge how stupid they actually are going to look.
At this point, you just have to believe that everything you're hearing is propaganda for one side or the other. And there's probably one person that I would listen to right now who is really crunching numbers and looking at data, Mark Halperin.
Well, so let's talk
Other than that, everything is just propaganda.
Yeah, okay, let's do that for a second, because I'm going to need a whole segment to rant about how stupid the local media is getting with this governor's race. Can we do that at the top of next hour?
We can.
But let's talk about how this is nationally, because
Are you talking about the Iowa poll?
Yes. So every poll in Iowa, like there's poll upon poll upon poll, including one that just came out from Emerson, which they did a poll here. They're a universally respected, kind of right down the middle pollster, shows Trump's ahead double digits or near double digits in Iowa, which matches voting trend. It matches voting history. It matches the increased Republican presence in the state. Everything you would see goes in line with that poll that showed Trump up 10.5. And you say, hey, maybe it's 9.5, maybe it's 10, maybe it's 11. It's somewhere in the vicinity of what this poll is telling us. And then this poll comes out from, I think, the Des Moines Register.
Correct.
And
Seltzer.
And it is totally out of step with every single other poll. No crosstabs, nothing revealed on how they got the number. And it shows Kamala Harris, not just close, but it shows her ahead. And the mainstream national media in this euphoric, unified voice, oh my gosh, if she's winning Iowa, Ohio could be in play too. There's nothing that shows you that Kamala Harris or Tim Walz believes that Iowa's in play. He's the governor of a neighboring state, and he's never been there. There's nothing that would show you that that's anything other than an outlier, or probably more likely done in a fashion to try to move opinion. And yet the media, the national media, in a unison, unified voice, not one person's like, wait a second. It just becomes, there's so much in play. We don't even know how well Kamala Harris is doing.
J.D. Vance was completely trolling it, and he was like, oh, yes, Harris should pick up stakes wherever she is and put all of her efforts into Iowa because she could pull it off. And, well, the survey was saying that older voters are in Harris's camp, and especially women voters. And then when Mark Halperin was questioning Ann Seltzer, the author of the poll, and he was saying, okay, well, let's take a look at some of these crosstabs, because maybe your selection of people you polled leads heavily female and heavily Democrat. So, of course, that's going to affect the outcome of the poll. And she was like, well, what do the DNR stand for? You know what they stand for.
Well, and it's one thing, like we always tell you on this show, we are an opinion-driven show. Our goal is to entertain you first and foremost, because that's how we get paid, and then to educate you. And we think if we can do those two things, you'll think like us. But we don't suspend. Go ahead. No, that's fine.
We don't suspend reality?
Wait.
Is that what you were going to say?
Wait.
Begin and end there.
All right, when we come back, I'm going to rip some local media ass here because these people are just ridiculous.
It's Kendall Casey on 93 WIBC.
Hi, this is Denny Smith, and I asked my wife this morning why women don't want to get their carpets cleaned. She said they absolutely do want to get their carpets cleaned, but they just don't want the hassle. You know, I get it. Nobody wants to have to move furniture, worry about people that they don't know coming into the house, worrying about the chemicals they're using, and then waiting around for things to dry. I get it. But that's not Zero Res. And with their Gotta Love It guarantee, they're going to make sure it's a great experience that you'll never, ever regret. There is nobody better at cleaning than Zero Res. Right now, get 3 rooms Zero Resified starting at just $129 and $75 off air duct cleaning too. That's a $40 savings on the carpet cleaning. The Zero Res service is easy to line up, and you can go online at zeroresindy.com to do the scheduling at your convenience. Just call them and mention WIBC. It's Zero Res. Call 317-388-5141 or book things online at zeroresindy.com. That's zeroresindy.com.
Hey folks, Hunter Smith here. I spent every fall from my childhood until my days in the NFL on the gridiron. Football gave me the chance to attend Notre Dame and go on to win a Super Bowl with the Indianapolis Colts. Football also taught me life lessons about hard work and toughness. This fall looks a little different. I'm not on the field. I'm running to represent you at the State House, and I'm taking hits from opponents. Hits meant to mislead you about my values and priorities. I'm tough enough to take it, and I trust voters are smart enough to know the truth.
Hunter Smith is a husband, father, and local business owner of Wonder Tree Farm. At the State House, Hunter will work to lower property taxes without impacting priorities like public safety. The Indiana State Police Alliance and Fraternal Order of Police endorse Hunter Smith, and Hunter will always empower parents to choose the best education for their kids. Vote Hunter Smith for state representative.
Paid for by Hunter Smith for Indiana.
This November, Indianapolis will play host to one of the most prestigious culinary competitions in the world, the World Food Championships. From November 8th through the 12th, the city will welcome over 300 cooking teams, battling in 12 unique food categories.
All of this is going down at the Indiana Farm Bureau Fall Creek Pavilion. It's inside the Indiana State Fairgrounds. Food samples, cooking demonstrations, celebrity chef appearances, family fun zone, and more. To learn more or buy tickets, visit worldfoodchampionships.com.
Do you need furnace or heat pump service and need to find a local well-trained expert you can trust like Family Heating and Air Conditioning? We'll find that American Standard air dealer at IndyHomeComfort.com.
If you're living with dry age-related macular degeneration or dry AMD, you may be at risk for developing geographic atrophy or GA. GA can be unpredictable and progress rapidly, leading to irreversible vision loss. Now there's something you can do to
slow it down. Get it going slower.
Izervay is proven to slow GA progression.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Izervay or avacincaptad pagel is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com.
Coming up in 2 minutes, what was shown to the jury in the Delphi murders trial. Donnie Burgess has the latest. Plus, Election Day is tomorrow, what you need to know. And the Hoosiers have cracked the top 10. I'm Kirk Darling. That and more coming up from the Technology Recycler Studios after Fox News. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 10 o'clock.
He's about to rally in Raleigh. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News. Former President Trump will start the last day of campaigning before the election in North Carolina, where supporters have lined up since 3 a.m.
He's for the everyday American, and we need that in a president who's here for us.
The former president will end his day in another toss-up state, Michigan. He'll also go to the biggest battleground prize, Pennsylvania, rallying in Reading and Pittsburgh. Vice President Harris will also be in that city before wrapping up a full day in Pennsylvania with a concert/rally in Philadelphia.
She is relying on this star power to drive out that voter turnout. She'll have Oprah, Lady Gaga, Katy Perry, Ricky Martin, and Fat Joe performing and speaking today.
Fox's Brian Yennis in Allentown, where the vice president will also hold a rally.
Urging people to show up to vote tomorrow because the majority of the vote is still out there here in Pennsylvania. Vice President Harris is starting in Scranton today. She'll be knocking on doors there with canvassers and volunteers.
More than 77 million Americans have already voted early, nearly half the number of all ballots cast in 2020. There was election drama on TV over the weekend.
Hello to our great sports fans, and I hope you're having a fantastic time.
This ad released by the Trump campaign during NBC's NASCAR coverage and during Sunday Night Football. This comes after Brendan Carter, the top Republican on the FCC, criticized NBC for allowing the vice president to appear on Saturday Night Live ahead of Election Day without offering equal time to former President Trump.
That's Fox's Ryan Schmelz. More rain is falling on Spain, where search crews keep looking for people still missing in last week's flooding disaster that killed at least 217 people. They're doing storm damage cleanup in parts of Oklahoma, where at least 11 people were injured when tornadoes hit.
If I could describe anything about Oklahoma City, it's resilient. No matter what happens to us, we always rise up as a community.
Police Chief Ron Basie, more stormy weather forecast for today. America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Prison videos. Heavier rain moving in on radar. 65 downtown. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:02. Those videos of Richard Allen were shown to the jury Saturday in the Delphi murders trial. Donnie Burgess reports.
Only the jury could see those videos. Allen's lawyers turned the courtroom TV away from the audience out of respect for their client's dignity, they said. A few reporters managed to catch a glimpse of the defense team laptop, which showed videos of Allen naked, restrained, being dragged along by police, and having a black cloth over his head, all while at Westville Prison last year. His lawyers say those conditions impacted his mental health. Allen is charged with the murders of Abigail Williams and Liberty German. Donnie Burgess, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Early voting comes to an end in just a couple hours throughout the state. After that, the polls open at 6 a.m. tomorrow for Election Day, and they close at 6 p.m. But if you are at least in line by 6 p.m. tomorrow, you will be able to vote. As for how the major political parties are feeling heading into the 11th hour of their campaigns.
I'm feeling really good. Our candidates have worked really hard. We've got a strong ticket, and we feel like things are on the right track.
Indiana GOP Chairman Randy Head. As for Democratic Party Chairman Mike Schmoll.
Our candidates are closing strong. I think that Jennifer McCormick has run a great campaign for governor.
Republicans feel the state will be among the first to be called for Donald Trump for president. Democrats think that they will gain traction in down-ballot races like Attorney General. Intimidation is the charge against a woman in Evansville. Crystal Newton Henderson is said by police to have gone up to her neighbor in a fit of rage on Sunday, accusing her of sleeping with her husband. Then she pulled out a gun, but it wasn't a real gun, actually. Henderson started firing Orbeez gel balls at her neighbor. They are number 8. Talking, of course, of the Indiana football Hoosiers who dominated Michigan State Saturday. Head coach Kurt Signetti.
We can't say we're a team that never trailed before because we got down 10-0. So, and now we all know how we're going to respond when we're down.
Indiana is now 9-0 for the first time ever. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
I received a call one time, and the man said, "You probably won't call me back because I'm just a nobody." I immediately called him back. Nobody's a nobody.
I'm John Morgan of Morgan & Morgan. I always wanted to be the lawyer who represented the little guy, the voiceless, the powerless.
I was rear-ended by a car probably doing about 50 or 55 miles an hour. My car caught on fire. I'm a paraplegic, so I couldn't get out of the car. They were struggling to get me out of the vehicle. After the accident, I gave Morgan & Morgan a call, and they understood what I was going through, and they were there to help me each step of the way. It made me feel that I had people behind my back to help me and resolve the case.
I represented him, and we did well because we get the chance to help people put their lives back together and to go on as best they can after a life-altering day. There's only one you, there's only one Morgan & Morgan. Injured? Visit forthepeople.com for an office near you.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by B&W HVAC, Plumbing and Electrical, your American Standard air dealer.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Monday, November 4th, 5 minutes after 10. You're listening to Kendall and Casey. It's 93 WIBC. So over 74 million Americans have voted early in the presidential election. That's nearly 47% of the total turnout from 2020. So believe it or not, nationwide voter turnout is still below 2020 levels, but it does exceed the 2016 turnout.
This is really going to come down to nationwide, and we'll get into this a little bit later on in the show, do men show up on Election Day?
Yeah, that's what it's coming down to.
You get enough of a picture now to kind of know in these states. Now, you don't know exactly how everybody's voted, but if you use some level of reason and logic, that you know the percentage of R's that are voting in states early, you know the percentage of D's that are voting, you know women, you know men, you know women are going to go more for Harris than they're going to go for Trump. So it gives you kind of a blueprint going into Election Day that Trump banked everything on Black, Latino, and young men who normally do not either vote at all or certainly vote Republican, showing up to vote. Now, polling shows that he's got a real puncher's chance if those people show up to vote. And if they do, there's a good chance he could become the president or at least get more votes than she did. And we'll get to that later on who's going to win. But if not, then she's going to win. And, it's like we talk about this a lot, where when you get outside your own echo chamber, you realize there's a whole, it must have been what Columbus felt like when he discovered the New World, right? Like he finds this alternate route, or he's seeking an alternate route. He gets lost, and then, hey, there's a whole new world, right? If you get outside your comfort zone, and it's harder and harder now with algorithms, but on Twitter, you realize, like, especially in a place like Pennsylvania, there is a whole group of people who are exactly like you, except they're bizarro world opposite. So the way they see things, the way they talk about things, the way they respond to things, the people who follow them, it's literally your world except the exact opposite. And I have do you know we're number one? Show's number one?
Yes.
Not the show's number one, the station's number one. And one of the reasons I think is because we have a bias, right? We don't kid you that we're not neutral arbiters, but we have a bias, and our goal is to entertain you and educate you. And we think if we do those two things, you're going to think like us, and you're going to keep tuning in. And one of the things we don't do, though, is we don't shill. Like, we don't lie to you. We don't put on things with rose-colored glasses. We tell you what we're seeing, and we don't think it's Trump by 1 million, and we don't think Trump's going to get 500 electoral votes. And on leftist Twitter, they're viewing things exactly how our side is viewing it, and the people that respond are the exact way we respond. And so you realize it's these, worlds that are colliding, right?
Yes.
To steal a Seinfeld phrase. And somebody's going to be pissed, and somebody's going to be happy, and it's razor thin. The firewall in Pennsylvania is 406,000 Democrat registered. Now, if you believe that the independents that are voting are going to favor the Democrats, it's probably somewhere about 450,000 early votes that'll favor the Democrats. So the math equation is this. Do you believe that on Election Day, Donald Trump can win by 450,000 votes in Pennsylvania? If the answer is yes, he wins more votes in the state. If the answer is no, he loses. It really is math. It really is that simple on what we're talking about. Once you understand math and once you understand data, it takes some of the emotion out of the equation.
Right. Okay, so there are 4,841,434 registered voters in the great state of Indiana. And as of yesterday morning, 1,148,410 people have voted.
So
24%.
Yeah, okay, so fourth of it. So let's talk about Indiana for a second, because what the media is doing here is utterly ridiculous, and I cannot wait. And we'll probably know about 7:30, because you got a couple corners of the state that are in Central Time Zone. You'll have to kind of see how they did. But the media desperately wants you to believe that this governor's race is super close because they hate Micah Beckwith.
Correct.
They hate Micah Beckwith's devotion to his faith. They hate his outspoken nature. And so they desperately, and I've never seen it like this before. Even everybody knows the Star is liberal, is left, but I've never seen it like this before. So let me give you an example about this, about how people are trying to manipulate, and they're totally contradicting themselves about what's going on with this governor's race. So every piece of historical data that you have shows Indiana's a Republican state. It has gone Republican every single time in the governor's race since 2004. 2020 is an outlier because a ton of Democrats loved Holcomb, the mask mandates, the lockdowns, the shutdowns, and he got an elevated number of votes because of all the Democrats who voted for Holcomb. But the reality is, in all of these races, even Pence, who was mortally wounded by Richard Murdoch, he still won, whatever it was, 48, 49, 50%. I don't remember what the final number was, but he still won the vote. Mitch Daniels, Eric Holcomb in 2016, which is a more 2024 type of election, won easily against John Gregg. And the media, because they're so desperate, they hate Micah Beckwith so much. They want you to believe that you can ignore every historical trend. They want you to ignore that there's a guy at the top of the ticket who's going to win by 20 points with Trump. They want you to ignore the fact that even another horribly flawed candidate like Rokita is going to win by double digits. Banks is going to win by 15 or 20 points. And they want you to believe everybody's going to vote Republican. Because remember, they were on the Destiny Wells stuff for a while, and that got so ridiculous they backed off that. You don't hear about her other than her warped, bizarro fantasy Twitter world that she lives in. You don't hear anything about Destiny Wells anymore. For a while, it was they're going to get Rokita too. It's going to be a double whammy, Casey. Now they're just on McCormick because the lie became too ridiculous in the Attorney General's race.
Even for the media.
The polling was too lopsided that they couldn't manufacture. So
over the 1.1 million mail-in and early in-person votes cast, 57 go to registered Republicans and 34 for Democrats.
So let's do math on that, shall we, Casey?
Sure.
Now these are Republican primary and Democrat primary voters. That's how, because there's no party affiliation in Indiana. It is how you voted in the primaries, how they're identifying these people. So if it's, 57, 35?
34.
34. Okay. So that is a 23-point difference in public school math. Let's say that you split the remaining group. Some are going to go libertarians. A lot of those people are libertarians. Some of them are going to go, they're independents. Let's split them down the middle between Republicans and Democrats. And so we're operating with a 23-point margin of differential here. That means 11.5% of Republican primary voters would have to hedge on one of the candidates in order for that candidate to lose, right? We're doing public school math here, right? 11.5% of Republican primary voters would have to not pick the Republican candidate for public office. And you're dealing with the top of the ticket, where I talked to a pretty establishment figure in the Republican Party, who I will not name, who said he thinks Trump's going to win by 20.
Yeah.
That means for one of these people to lose 20,
that means
a huge portion of these people would have to not pick the Republican.
That means more than half of people who vote for Donald Trump will say, but I'm not voting for Braun Beckwith.
It's crazy. And there's no public polling that has been released, independent polling, that has shown you anything close to that. What do all the public polls show? It's somewhere between like 8 and 10%, which is probably where it's at. There was an internal poll by one of the statewide candidates that showed Braun up 10. Now, if I got it, and I'm not going to tell you who it was, but I'm going to tell you I'm certainly not friends with this person, okay? It was not Braun, and I'm certainly not friends with the person. If I got the data, how are all these super connected media people,
Indy Star writers,
all these, Abdul, all these people with all these sources, how is it that I can know about this? And this thing's been out there for a week and a half, and not one person got it. Bull. Abdul's on our show on Wednesday saying Braun's going to win. He's got the momentum.
He said it's going to be closer than he wants, but yeah.
And he said Micah helped Braun. And then over the weekend, what's he put out, Casey?
Yeah, that things are looking pretty good for Jennifer McCormick.
He totally contradicts himself. And then when you call him on his bull crap, he basically goes, well, I didn't say she was going to win. That's the whole premise of your post. This is why people don't trust the media. Because he goes on our show and says one thing, and then on Twitter or Facebook or both, puts out something totally contrary, and then when he gets called on his bull crap, he goes, "Oh, I didn't say she was going to win." That's what you want people to think. They get 200 people at a rally for Jennifer McCormick in New Albany with the Democrat governor from the next state
from
over,
Kentucky, Andy Bashir,
and they act as though a Rolling Stones concert broke out over there. They act as though the Beatles got back together. It's 200 people with a governor, a Democrat governor from a neighboring state who's walking across the border. Half those people might have been from Kentucky. Yeah. Who knows? And the media wants you to believe that there is some freight train of momentum for the Democrats. It is total manipulation. It is totally not giving you an honest assessment. And it is totally designed to make you think something is happening that is not happening. The same has happened in Iowa.
So the Indy Star put out another hit piece on Micah Beckwith yesterday because I think they're getting alerts like, ding. Oh, okay. It's time to go write a bad article about him. So for every one Republican that is in a newsroom, there are 10 Democrats.
Is that a thing?
That's a thing. That's a stat.
And look, everybody knows the trouble the Star has had because they've given up all semblance of fairness on most stuff, which is too bad because when they want to, they can do great journalism. The Hogsett stuff that Briggs did, fabulous. And Haley Colombo, fabulous. The stuff they did on Larry Nassar, fabulous. They have the ability to do good reporting. The problem is nobody's seeing their stuff anymore, for the most part, other than their echo chamber, because they've totally alienated people with, like you said, they're writing a hit piece a day about Micah Beckwith. Micah Beckwith is not the candidate for governor. He's going to have a limited role, as most lieutenant governors do. Most people are not voting based on lieutenant governor, the overwhelming majority. A lot of people don't even know who's running for lieutenant governor, and yet the media wants you to believe, and because the entire McCormick campaign is based on, because she has nothing to offer. She's a total shapeshifter. She's highly fraudulent. She'll say whatever you want her to say in whatever room she's in. By the way, remember Abdul on our show said he was going to ask Jennifer McCormick about old Walter, that radical right-wing Republican who even Alex Jones was like, ooh, you better slow down there, buddy, who she put in those statewide TV ads. I didn't see anything in Abdul's piece about how he asked Jennifer McCormick about why she's ripping extremism on the Republican side and then puts this guy in her ads. I guess he didn't. Even though he said he was going to do it on our show, I guess he didn't get around to it.
He didn't get around to it. So there is a new opinion piece that came out on Indy Star this morning, 5:30 a.m., and it's from James Briggs. And he says, Briggs' election predictions, which you definitely should not trust.
Well, there you look. But the point of all this is Mike Braun's going to be the governor. Jim Banks is going to win. Rokita is going to win because statistical data and the history, and you put these two things together, and you get a pretty good idea of the way things are going to go. Is Mike Braun a great candidate? See, this is the difference between us and other people. We are honest. Is Mike Braun a great candidate for governor? No.
He has not run a good campaign.
No, he's not a great candidate. He hasn't run a very good campaign. And the reality is, with rainwater in the soup and the still pissed off Republicans from the last 8 years of governance, it's going to be the closest of all the statewide races. There's no doubt about that. It'll probably be somewhere between 5 and 8 points. And that we're giving you an honest assessment of how it's going to be. We're not telling you, even though I love Micah. Mike and I are very close. I'm not out there like, oh, yeah, they're going to win by 20. The media on the other side is doing the equivalent of saying he's going to win by 20. She's got momentum on her side because 200 people, they showed up. You shouldn't believe anything these people tell you because they've become shills. They're just arms of these campaigns.
This is true. It is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Galloway for a three. Renewed. Throws it up and in and a foul. For a three, yes. And a Baco.
Mike Goodson has an exciting roster of veterans, transfers, and freshmen. The Hoosiers begin their pre-conference season against the Southern Illinois Salukis at Assembly Hall Wednesday. John Herrick has the pregame at 7. Don Fisher with the tip at 8 on your home for IU basketball. 93 WIBC.
Hey, Bill, where you been? You're overdue for a haircut.
Man, listen, my water pipes burst and flooded my house. Place a mess. I've been staying with my daughter till I can figure out what to do.
You trying to fix it and move back in?
No way. It's too big a mess. It'll cost me tens of thousands of dollars. I ain't got that kind of money.
You trying to sell it then?
Well, that's what I'd like to do, but who's going to buy my house in this condition?
Did you call Simple Quarters?
Simple Quarters?
Simple Quarters bought our house when we were in a jam. We needed to move real quick. They closed fast and gave us cash.
Simple Quarters will buy in any condition?
That's right. They buy as is. You don't have to repair anything or clean anything out. It's simple.
What do I have to do?
Just call them. They'll do a quick walkthrough, then they'll make you an offer.
Simple Quarters is a local Christian company that loves to help people in difficult situations. Call Simple Quarters at 317-900-HOME. That's 317-900-HOME. Check us out at simplequarters.com.
Martha was ready to switch to a career in IT.
There's always a need for IT specialists, especially with AI coming out and cybersecurity. It's practically recession-proof.
My Computer Career even provides job placement help.
The career specialists, they're very helpful. They care about you as a person. You're not just a number to them. I would recommend My Computer Career wholeheartedly to anyone.
Take the free career evaluation today. Become an IT pro in just months with zero experience at mycomputercareer.edu.
Everywhere you look, things are getting more expensive. So at Consumer Cellular, we're lowering the price for those 50 and up. Now you can get unlimited talk, text, and data for $30 a line when you buy two. That's just $60 a month for 2 unlimited lines. So if you're 50 and up, make the switch and save. Come on, you've earned this. Call 1-888-FREEDOM or visit consumercellular.com today. Requires 2 lines of service, age validation, and credit approval, subject to system and area limits, taxes, and other fees apply.
Bee's offering our Black Friday sale, 52% off, plus 10% manufacturer rebates and 18 months, no interest, no payments.
Robert F. Kennedy Jr. said on Sunday that Donald Trump assured him that he would get a role in the White House if the GOP ticket wins on Tuesday. He said that he asked God for 19 years to put him in a position to end the chronic disease epidemic in the country. And in August, God sent him Donald Trump. And isn't that exactly when the Harris campaign really started to lose some momentum? Keep in mind, they had just finished the DNC, and the very next day was when RFK Jr. and Donald Trump teamed up and really started to take the steam out of her election campaign.
Well, we've talked about this, and it is, if Trump pulls it off, it's sort of like 2016 in the sense of, I always thought Trump was the only person that could have beat Clinton, and Clinton was the only person that could have lost to Trump. And what I mean by that is Trump went at the Clintons with gusto and bravado like no other candidate would have. Ted Cruz or any of those people would have never. I mean, when he brought those women that were accusing Bill Clinton of all those horrible things, he brings them and he puts them in the front row at the debate. I mean, just all the stuff that he did. He forced people he held the mirror up and said, here are the Clintons. Do you want this? And America ultimately said no. Now, one of the miscalculations Trump made was, I don't think once he got elected, he realized the vote that put you over the top was not because you were great. It was because they didn't want Hillary. Mm-hmm. And I think he governed with a little bit of arrogance that he didn't read the tea leaves right on how many people just voted against Hillary. But this is, if he wins, it's going to be, I don't know. I mean, I go back and forth because I think, and I think you think, that if it had been someone like a Ron DeSantis, it would have made the choice easier for people, because I think a lot of people are sick of the direction of the country. However, once Biden was off the ticket, I don't know. I mean, it obviously changed everything. But if Trump wins, he's put together a strategy that only Trump could have peeled off, right? Like, if Ron DeSantis is the nominee, he's not coalitioning. He's not putting together a coalition of Robert F. Kennedy Jr., of Tulsi Gabbard, of all these kind of wacky land of misfit toys. I mean, you think about the spokespeople. It's everything from Hulk Hogan to Antonio Brown, right? So that wouldn't have been happening. So if he wins, it's sort of the thing of Trump's the only guy who could have done it. And if he loses, we're going to look at each other and go, see, we tried to tell you. I have no idea how it's going to go.
It's interesting now because the Trump campaign is selling the team before Election Day. And you normally don't have that. This is on a much larger scale. This is the buy one, get one that Clinton did, only now it's buy one, get half a dozen. So RFK Jr. dropped this ad. Actually, Nicole Shanahan did last night. And it's an ad for Trump and his team. And
no, real quick, tell everybody who Nicole Shanahan was.
She was going to be Robert F. Kennedy Jr.'s running mate for vice president.
She was like a Google executive. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, very, very rich person. But I want to play this ad, at least part of it. It's like 2.5 minutes long. We're not going to get through the whole thing. But just listen to how they're positioning this. This is a spot where the producers have given each surrogate, who is a star in their own right, their own moment. This is highly produced. It's like an Avengers trailer. I think this is it's an amazing piece of content from Team Trump.
What will we do with this moment? How will we be remembered? Look at the opportunities before us.
This election really isn't about the left versus the right. It's about we, the people, choosing our government and the choice between freedom versus tyranny.
Nobody has a chronic disease burden like we have. Why are we allowing this to happen to our children? Ultimately, the only thing that will save our country is if we choose to love our kids more than we hate each other.
What is going on here is deeper than politics. It is deeply spiritual. We are being called to rise above the hatred and the fear and the evil.
We need to remember above and beyond that we must love our neighbors, that we must treat other people as we hope to be treated.
You want to be a rebel? You want to be a hippie? You want to stick it to the man? Show up on your college campus and try calling yourself a conservative.
America is going to reach heights that it has never seen before. The future is going to be amazing!
So what you've got here is the most egotistical candidate, and he's closing his campaign with someone other than himself. And I'm wondering if this is going to be the way campaigning will be moving forward. You've got the candidate, and here he is presenting his generals, so to speak. The Democrats have relied on Hollywood for a really long time, not entrepreneurs and business leaders. And here is Donald Trump ending this political season saying, you're going to get me, but you're also going to get all of them.
Yeah, all right. Do we have voicemails?
We do. We've got a couple of those. We'll get to those coming up from 93 WIBC.
Mark Dietl is the only real estate expert I trust with the sale of my home. And it was the same for Dee and Andrew in Noblesville. Here's what they had to say. We were done with the rat race and ready to live the dream of buying a camper and traveling west. We needed top cash from our home to make our dream work. Thankfully, we hired Mark Dietl, who delivered big time. Our home sold for our asking price in 4 days on the market.
Mark Dietl is the only real estate agent that we trust and recommend here on the Hammer and Nigel show. And it's because of the guarantee. Mark Dietl guarantees your home sold at a mutually agreed upon price and deadline, or he will buy it. You pick your move date, no long-term contracts. You can cancel at any time. Call Mark Dietl today. 317-755-4232 or go to markdietl.com. That's Mark, D-I-E-T-E-L, markdietl.com.
Have you heard about this guy, Donald Rainwater?
I sure have. Guy was a deadbeat dad. Total loser. Not only did Rainwater repeatedly fail to pay his child support, he filed for bankruptcy and had his car repossessed. But what did a court find he spent the money on? Cigarettes.
Hasn't he run for office twice before and lost each time?
Sure has. Maybe that's why he wants the job, so taxpayers pay off all his debts.
But there's someone even worse than Rainwater. This Jennifer McCormick character is a really out there liberal.
Yeah, she's a pro-Biden and pro-Kamala liberal. She opposed school choice, she supports boys in the girls' locker room, and did you hear what she said about Hillary Clinton?
Did you vote for Hillary Clinton?
She had some great, world foreign experience. So I did vote for Hillary Clinton.
Jennifer McCormick. She's hopelessly liberal.
I'm not voting for Rainwater or McCormick. They're both losers in my book.
Paid for by Indiana Republican State Committee, Inc.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level. On the go.
Time running out. Showers on radar and more moving in. 66 downtown. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 10:30. Early voting is still going on, but not for much longer. Fox's Eben Brown.
Voters in 10 states are still able to cast in-person ballots today. Alaska, Arkansas, Colorado, Iowa, Indiana, Missouri, Montana, Rhode Island, and Wyoming all allow for early voting on the day before Election Day. While they're not regarded as swing states, many are holding hotly contested races for the U.S. Senate and House. Most other states have ended their pre-election day in-person voting by now. Evan Brown, Fox News.
Early voting in Indiana ends at noon. Boeing machinists will be voting today on a new contract offer that could end a weeks-long strike. The International Association of Machinists, which represents about 33,000 workers, has endorsed a tentative deal that would offer 38% wage raises for over 4 years. I'm Kirk Darling on The Level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Do you have $10,000, $20,000, or $30,000 in debt? Then listen to this. You may not be required to pay it all back.
I was drowning in debt.
I had over $36,000 in debt.
If I would have just made the minimum payments, it would have taken me 59 years to pay off.
Whether it's credit card, medical, or personal loan debt, National Debt Relief can help significantly reduce what you owe. In fact, debt relief payments can be 50% less than your monthly credit card payments. That's right, half as much as you're paying now.
National Debt Relief reduced my debt by over $27,000.
With National Debt Relief, you have a powerful team that knows how to talk to your creditors.
National Debt Relief, they got me out of debt.
More than 550,000 Americans have used National Debt Relief to reduce their debt. Call 800-885-5444 to see if you qualify to settle your debt for a fraction of what you owe. That's 800-885-5444. 800-885-5444.
Attorney General Todd Rokita is fighting to protect Hoosiers. That's why the Indiana State Police Alliance has endorsed Todd Rokita for re-election. They know Todd Rokita is protecting our jobs, protecting us from crime, and working to end illegal immigration, always putting Hoosiers first. Attorney General Todd Rokita is fighting to protect Hoosiers.
Paid for by the Todd Rokita Election Committee.
Don't want the worry of maintaining your furnace or air conditioner? Join B&W's Premier Club today. Visit bplusw.com/radio to learn more. B&W is your independent American Standard air dealer.
Everyone knows that soaking in Epsom salts can make you feel better. Now imagine soaking in Epsom salts in a Royal Spa hot tub.
Ah, Royal Spa.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC. It's time to hear from you. Kendall and Casey present Voicemails. Brought to you by QC Kinetics for non-surgical regenerative medicine treatment at 317-559-PAIN.
The phone number, 317-684-8444. It is Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. It's the portion of the program we turn right over to you with your voicemails. And this first one is from Indy Joe in Texas, and he wants to talk about getting back to normal.
Just an observation on some cultural things. Just when you thought the world was falling apart, I saw a semblance of normalcy. Well, what I mean by that is when I was a kid, every year when it was the World Series, it was always the Yankees and the Dodgers. So I see that's gotten back on track to where it should be. Now, another major sign that it really is the end of the world, and I tuned in, Indiana University was on national television for their football program. What's going on? And actually watching them play, they're legit, and they're not playing a Notre Dame Division II schedule. They're playing real football teams. This has got to be the end of the world. And for you, Casey, boiler up, hammer down.
Okay, so the Hoosiers now ranked number 8 in the Associated Press College football poll.
Okay, so not that I'm in any way questioning Indiana Joe's football expertise. I mean, he's probably got some sort of high-paying gig with Fox Sports or ESPN. Let's talk about schedules, shall we?
Yeah.
What ranked team has Indiana played? Oh, that dead air is because they haven't played a ranked team. And look, I'm not trying to crap on what Indiana's doing. I think it's wonderful. But for him to say Division II schedule like Notre Dame, in Notre Dame won at Texas A&M, who was in the top 10. Now, they got beat this past week, but they just beat LSU. They beat all sorts of good teams. They smoked Missouri, okay? On the road, they won at Texas A&M. They beat Navy, who was ranked until they got depantsed by Notre Dame. They beat Louisville, who just beat the crap out of Clemson, who was in the playoff until this past time. So IU with their 0 ranked teams. Oh, and Notre Dame, do they play Army? Is it Army next week? They play Army, who's ranked. So IU plays one ranked team this year. It's Ohio State. Like this whole thing. No, stop. We'll find out if IU goes to Ohio State.
Yeah.
And is competitive at Ohio State, then we got a ball game here. But
Ohio State's ranked number 3 right now.
Well, and look, I think it's wonderful that IU's done this well. But who have they beaten? I mean, Nebraska just got their asses kicked by UCLA. UCLA stinks.
So it's being reported that the Indiana-Michigan CBS Big Ten game is the Indiana-Michigan game.
Yeah, sure. And Michigan stinks this year.
Getting a good time slot.
Yeah, that's great. I'm glad they're winning all the games they're supposed to win. That's going to make that Ohio State game, if they can beat Michigan this week, very, very fun. But this whole Notre Dame doesn't play anybody. They've played multiple teams that are pretty darn good, which is why, well, we'll find out tonight. Is tonight when we find out the first set of
playoff rankings?
Playoff rankings. Is it tonight, tomorrow? One of those two.
Well, if it were released right now, Indiana would be a 9 seed.
Well, that's according to the Associated Press.
Correct.
That's the ranking by the Associated Press. With Notre Dame is 10, I use 8 or 9, whatever. But the point is, like, yes, Notre Dame has a very bad loss against Northern Illinois. But this idea that they haven't played anybody, their schedule, if you're just going by ranking and positioning, way tougher than what IU's played. So get out of here with that.
Here's another phone call, and this one is about what Mark Cuban said last week, that there were no smart, intelligent women surrounding Donald Trump.
Hey, Kendall and Casey. Rob, I got a question for you. I was just curious if you're trying to cover for Mark Cuban. He said that Mr. Trump didn't surround himself with strong, intelligent women. And Friday, you kept referring to the word independent. And you stayed on that independent subject, and I just wonder if you're trying to cover for him, because Casey kept trying to reiterate the word intelligent, but you kept going to independent. Just curious.
I think he should get the show.
Well, he made a mistake in his phone call because he said strong, intelligent women. The quote was smart, intelligent women.
What, like, whatever.
Not strong, not independent.
I mean,
smart,
I don't know.
Intelligent.
Hey, it's so easy because if you look
it's
around,
one little thing. Well, you got to pick on you.
Yeah, well, I mean, you look at talk radio stations across the country, Casey. There's tons of talk radio stations that are number one. There's tons that have the market share that we do. There's tons of midday radio shows that are number one.
Oh wait. No, there's not.
Yeah, I think all of these listeners should come in, do the show, and we'll see how it goes. Y'all can have a week, and let's see how it goes.
All right, here's another phone call, same subject.
Hey, Casey, I just wanted to give you a huge compliment for not just unloading on Rob. The entire show, when he was saying strong, independent women, where the comment was strong and intelligent, I was just super impressed that you just didn't rip him a new one on air. So you may have done it off air, but I was very impressed that you just didn't lose it with him. So have a great day, and we'll talk to you later.
Same thing. He said strong. It was smart, intelligent.
Hey, you know what? Last year, remember I took the month of December off, and it took the station 5 months for those ratings to recover. So I'm going to take December off again this year, Casey, and we'll see what happens to the ratings. And no doubt they'll blossom, and the people will just flood in, and there'll just be throngs and throngs of new listeners, and we will soar to heights never ever seen before. People will get their wish. You people just hang in there for another month and a half, because December 16th is the last day I'm going to be here this year. So
yeah, I didn't rip you apart off the air or on the air.
No, you're very nice. You're very nice. But these people are going to get their wish, and probably it was an anomaly last year that we were doing so well, and the ratings just went in the toilet. And this year, no doubt, they will just flourish and will fly higher. By the way, it is Florida State this week for Notre Dame, then Virginia, then Army, and then they go to USC. So, okay.
Here's another phone call. This one about voting and what's going to happen on Tuesday and what you're dealing with.
As of Tuesday, the results will start coming in, and we will know what the future of our country is. Let's keep something in mind. There's evils in the world. Priest at our church, and I will say it's a Catholic church, said in a sermon a few weeks ago, what we have to do is choose the lesser of two evils. Folks, they're on the table out there. You've heard the rhetoric, you've heard the lies, you've heard the campaign speeches. It's time to make a decision. And personally, as a member of the 70s community and being in the 70s myself as well as the wife, we know what freedom's been over the years. We know about a good home-cooked meal because our mom was able to stay at home and we were able to be out in the streets till the street light came on and all those things that we older people talk about. And we're seeing these freedoms diminish.
I can't imagine that there's anybody who's going to go vote tomorrow who's waiting until actual election day, that they're undecided at this point.
How could you be? I mean, what are you? And by the way,
What are you waiting for?
Southside Tom, one of our great listeners. No, what's interesting is, and they were talking a little bit about this at Life Church yesterday, is the amount of churches that just sit on the sidelines. Oh, we don't want to offend anybody. We don't want to potentially chase somebody off. That is insane to me, of the difference in these two candidates, the difference really in both sides up and down the aisle, and to say you don't have a vested interest as a church in who wins one way or another. And by the way, this misnomer that churches can't get political is complete crap. You can't give money to candidates, but churches can certainly endorse candidates. They can certainly put out viewpoints that they believe. That is the biggest misnomer, that churches cannot get involved politically, and yet so many churches out of fear of, there's three parishioners over here that might be angry. We shouldn't say what we think the word says. We shouldn't talk about that. And this is why you get there was that study that came out a couple of years ago now about all the Christians who just simply don't engage in the political process.
Right.
Millions, tens of millions of Christians who do not, of all denominations, who do not engage in the political process. That is insane to me.
I saw somebody post on X yesterday, and they said if your pastor is not telling you or guiding you or helping you decide which way to vote, you need to find a new church.
Yeah.
And I think that is especially true with Catholic Church. If your priest isn't saying, you cannot vote for a Democrat who believes in abortion if you're Catholic. That is one of the cardinal rules of being a Catholic. And if you're not hearing that in your church, why not?
Isn't that crazy that in this state where the candidate for governor of one of the tickets, her central focus is not your financial well-being. It's not figuring out how our economy is going to work. It's not infrastructure. It's not taxes. Her central focus, Jennifer McCormick's central focus, is being able to end the life of the unborn. And by the way, these men that I see on social media, I'm voting for my daughter and for my future granddaughters. Buddy, if abortion is your thing, you may not have future granddaughters, right? Like,
that's a contradiction,
if you're
right?
a man and you're putting that out there, that you think, and you mention your grandchildren, no, the whole premise is they want to make it so you may not have grandchildren. I mean, that is blows my mind. It's disgusting, these men that are putting this out there. And I don't know if they're just that stupid or they want to fit in or what. But yes, the idea is a church, when you have a candidate for public office, Jennifer McCormick, the Democrat, Destiny Wells is the same as an attorney general, who the central theme of their campaign is on-demand abortion access, and you as a church are like, well, better sit this one out. Don't want to offend anybody.
Right.
What are you doing?
Yeah. It is Kendall Casey. It's 93 WIBC, and Hammer's going to join us next.
Hammer and Nigel Show, 3:06 this afternoon. It's election eve. Remember, kids, put out your stockings, and Mike Braun might come down your chimney. 3 to 7, 93 WIBC.
Hey guys, it's Rob for Life Church. Man, we love Life Church. Had an awesome time yesterday watching Life Church. Yeah, that's right. I said watching Life Church. And it's one of the many things I love about Life Church is the incredible online services. So you can check everything out for yourself, and you never have to leave the comfort of your own living room. Life Church is warm. They're welcoming. They'd love the opportunity to meet and welcome you and your family. Many WIBC listeners have found a home at Life Church over the years, and check it out. Check it out from home. Learn about everything. LifeChurchIN.com is the website. And don't forget, they got campuses all across central Indiana, Noblesville, Fishers, Eagle Creek, and Pendleton.
Jennifer McCormick couldn't name a single thing she disagreed with Hillary Clinton on. That's because, just like Hillary, McCormick backed failed liberal policies. She endorsed Bidenomics, said she'd be honored to serve in Biden's administration. She opposed school choice, and she even supports biological boys playing girls' sports.
Did you vote for Hillary Clinton?
I did vote for Hillary Clinton. She had some great, world foreign policy experience. So, I did vote for Hillary Clinton.
It gets worse. Here's what Jennifer McCormick says about Donald Trump.
I cannot get behind that. Never voted for Trump, never will vote for Trump, never was behind Trump, never will be behind Trump. I just cannot get behind a party who is behind that type of leadership. To me, it's nonsensical.
Jennifer McCormick, hopelessly liberal. Paid for by Mike Braun for Indiana.
Hey, diamond lovers. Shane Company knows fine jewelry. That means a lot when you're looking for a dream engagement ring, a beautiful keepsake, or the perfect gift. When it's this important, you want someone who knows exactly how to work with your budget. Not against it. Someone who knows you deserve a piece more beautiful than you've ever imagined. Through 4 generations as a family business, we've always sourced our diamonds and gemstones directly, cut out the middleman, and passed the savings on to you. Come see us in store and compare our wide selection of diamonds, rubies, and a rainbow of sapphires in different shapes and sizes. So many in stock and ready to take home today. Create your dream engagement ring in 3 easy steps. Or pick a perfectly preset ring that's created by our in-house design team. Browse our selection of fine jewelry gifts for everyone in your life, from diamond and gemstone studs to must-have tennis bracelets and beautiful birthstone necklaces. With our everyday competitive prices and unmatched free lifetime warranty, Shane Company is your go-to destination for fine jewelry. Visit shaneco.com and come in to see for yourself. Shane Company, your friend and jeweler.
As the leaves turn golden and the air grows crisp, there's something special brewing, something that captures the very essence of fall. Introducing Pumpkin Something, a smooth, spice-filled bourbon infused with the perfect mixture of allspice, pumpkin, clove, cinnamon, and ginger. It's the taste of autumn in a glass, a sip of warmth on a cool evening. Crafted with care and precision at Hotel Tango Distillery. Known for its commitment to quality and innovation, this new blend promises a unique tasting experience that celebrates the essence of fall. Pumpkin Something from Hotel Tango Distillery is guaranteed to elevate any fall cocktail. Add it to your warm cider in the evening or to your fall lattes. You can do anything with Pumpkin Something from Hotel Tango Distillery. Available for a limited time only. Visit your local liquor store and bring home the taste of fall with Pumpkin Something from Hotel Tango Distillery, because autumn never tasted so good. Sip responsibly.
Attention! Have you racked up $10,000 or more in credit card debt? Are you barely getting by making minimum payments? With credit card debt reaching all-time highs, National Debt Relief is notifying consumers about significant debt relief options currently being made available to help those with overwhelming credit card debt. These options may reduce a large portion of credit card debt for those who qualify. You don't need to declare bankruptcy or take out a consolidation loan, and you may only have to pay back a fraction of what you owe, even if you have bad credit. National Debt Relief has already reduced the credit card debt for more than 550,000 consumers, so don't wait. If you owe $10,000, $20,000, or even $100,000 in credit card debt, you can now take advantage of this financial debt relief as the cost of living continues to skyrocket. To check what debt reduction you may qualify for, call 800-881-6464. 800-881-6464. Again, that's 800-881-6464.
Wealth-changing question. Has your advisor created a portfolio based only on your age and risk tolerance? That's simply not good enough. Your money deserves better, and so do you. At Creative Planning, our private wealth managers learn about you first, and then they create a customized plan and portfolio by partnering with our in-house money managers, accountants, and attorneys. Don't settle for a standard portfolio. Book your free meeting today at creativeplanning.com. Creative Planning, a richer way to wealth.
Addiction. It's hard on those who struggle with it, but those who love the addict need support too. Matt Baer and Ryan Hedrick provide help and hope with Supporting Sobriety. Subscribe wherever you get your podcasts and on WIBC.com.
From the #1 rated Hammer and Nigel show, Jason Hammer in the studio. Good morning.
It is election eve, ladies and gentlemen. Are you guys excited? Is energy coursing through your veins, Casey?
Yes, absolutely. I can't wait.
I don't believe you.
Oh.
Have you voted already?
I did. I voted Friday.
Okay. Rob, you early voter, you day of guy?
I did vote. I tried to be a day of guy, and my wife told me that was not going to happen. I've already taken off work. We got to go. I said, okay, fine. So,
Rob's impression of his wife is so cringeworthy, but it's fantastic at the same time. Like,
because
I love it.
She's just the sweetest, nicest person in the
I
world.
know, right?
She
That's the
doesn't
thing.
sound like that at all.
Yeah. But she very rarely, tells me no. But because I told her day of, I said, well, the line looks like it's like, whatever, several hours at the library. Why don't we just go day of? And she was like, I left work early. We're going today. So I said, okay, fine. So
You're day of guy.
I am day of guy. I'll be there tomorrow. And the place I go to, it's never really that long of a line. Like the longest I've ever had, I've been going there for years, has been maybe 30 minutes.
I waited 15 minutes. That was it.
I saw Jesse Brown, the socialist guy in the city county council, was up in arms last night that I guess they had voting open till 10, and some lazy people got there and decided they didn't want to stand in line, so they left. And he was outraged that they were being inconvenienced.
Oh, socialist guy's upset, huh?
You know what? You've had 3 weeks to vote, and this guy's upset because these people waited till 9 o'clock on a Sunday, and there was now keep in mind they could have voted. They're in line. They could vote. They just didn't want to wait, and so somehow he was blaming Diego Morales for that.
But here's the thing about Jesse Brown. And again, I agree with his politics 99.99%. Disagree,
Yeah.
right? Totally disagree. But at least he's got the stones to call out Boss Hogsett. Like, he's doing more of that than some of the Republicans are.
Now, this primary, you had a little run-in at the voting booth.
Yes, there was this big, fat, gross, sweaty dude working for the Jared Evans campaign. And his name was Mike. I think his last name was Oles. He was like a surrogate of the Jared Evans campaign because I live near the southwest side, right? And walking up to the polls, and we've told this story a million times, he starts talking about book banning with Micah because I think I have a Hammer and Nigel hat on.
Yeah.
So probably recognized who I was. And I got Chris with me, and we're both going in to vote. Starts getting mouthy. He's got stains all over his shirt. Might be food, might be pee. I don't know.
So it wasn't like, hey, please vote for our guy, which that's common, right? Hey, thank you, have a nice day. It was he started getting into it with you about Micah Beckwith, who's not running for the same office Jared Evans is running.
He's talking about book banning and all types of stuff.
Did you ask him what books have been banned?
Book moving?
I did, and then he starts getting a little bit more mouthy, so I say, all right, I'm just going to walk in to go vote, get up close to the school, which, again, I'm shocked this guy could legally be around a school the way he looks. And then he yells back to me, your radio show effing sucks.
Oh, and he used the word.
Yeah, totally. So I turn around and I respond with said word, and I think moments away from action, the voice of reason, Chris Hammer, basically says, hey, he wants you to do this.
He wanted to film you.
And he tries to get Chris involved in it, but that's who Jared Evans, that council guy, which I never had any beef with Jared Evans until that. Jared Evans could walk in here and take a dump, and I have no idea who he is. But he had that clown working on him, so that was the last time. It was a midterm, so we'll see what happens
it'll go
tomorrow.
smoother this time for you.
I kind of hope that, sloth is there.
True story, when I ran, because the guy I ran against was super lazy, his supporters put the signs out way in advance, and they were outside the chute. And so you can sit or stand. They call it the chute. There's a legal area where you can stand, but because they put it outside that, my guy set his chair up right in front of their sign, and it was totally legal because they had put it at an angle, and he was like, well, I guess you can't see the sign now.
Okay, so here's how you fight fire with fire. If he wants to sit there, right, I go find my friend, I load him up with warm Budweiser and White Castle and Taco Bell, and I make him stand there and just fart on him the whole day. You want to play prison games, right? Let's go.
That'll clear out the room. Well, you know what happened to me when I went and voted? I got smacked on the behind.
Was it Biden?
By your husband?
He was my husband.
Oh, very good.
And I kept thinking about that Harris spot the whole time. Because I went first and I did the, yeah, that's me, and tapped the iPad, and then I signed my name, and then they printed out my ticket, and they said, okay, go find your booth. And I was standing there, and then he was behind me, and then he walked up right to the one next to me, and bam, smacked me on the behind, and then started his voting. And I said, that is not appropriate.
That's what Joe Biden wants, though.
Yeah,
quote, those Republicans are the type of people I want to smack in the ass. Said that over the weekend.
What does that even mean?
I have no idea.
We got a wedding to go to Saturday.
We do. Listeners invited us to a wedding, so we are going to go. And again, we've made it perfectly clear. We will not be at the ceremony. That's like for the family and all that kind of stuff, you know. But we will show up to the reception. We will drink your booze, eat your food, make conversation. We're going to bring a gift.
I got to give you money, don't I?
Yes.
Yeah,
yes, you do. And I know you do not have any after your college football Saturday this week.
Hey, now we got the balling on a budget. That's a big one.
You did hit balling on a budget.
That makes up for. But man, yeah, that Saturday was garbage. That was hot garbage.
But it's the ups and downs of gambling.
But in fairness, I told everybody. I said these are all going to be losses. So if you'd have just bet against me on Saturday, how can I be that good at the NFL and that bad at college?
Well, I don't know. It's just ups and downs, man. You'll find that out throughout the course of this show.
I'm really good at the NFL.
Rob.
1 week you're 5-0. The next minute you're 0-5.
Stink. Anyway, what's coming up this afternoon?
We're going to have a lot of fun today. Election Eve. Mike Braun's going to stop by. We're going to have a good time. Guy Relford, Donnie Burgess with more Delphi updates. Let's do the thing.
Thanks, Hammer. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Real Stories with Hellsberg.
I had the ring already. She had made it very clear what kind of ring she wanted.
Yep.
I pretended that I was going to kneel and picked up a pine cone instead of pulling out a ring.
What a jerk. But when I saw that ring, I was like, oh, he did good.
I really love Amy. I really, really genuinely love Amy.
I love you too.
At Hellsberg, find the engagement ring worthy of your story. Designed with the love, care, and craft it deserves. Visit a Hellsberg store or hellsberg.com.
Military veterans and active duty service members, you could become a certified cyber warrior with just 12 weeks of training at My Computer Career. Cybersecurity specialists are in high demand, and IT pros with these skills often enjoy abundant opportunity and a great lifestyle. Protect our people, liberty, and treasured institutions from cyber threats. GI Bill, SkillBridge, and other VA benefits are available to those who qualify. Learn more at mycomputercareer.edu/CWP. That's mycomputercareer.edu/CWP.
Fellas, if you're not upbeat like you used to be, it could be low testosterone. It affects our moods. Testosterone therapy, or TRT, can help you get back to your best. Guys have different T levels. We're not all the same. Don't go for TRT referred to as a standard dosage plan. Ask. There's a difference.
Look for TRT with an optimized personal treatment plan like you'll get with the experts at Low T Center. Go to lowtcenter.com. Book that appointment. Low T Center, reinventing men's healthcare.
Discover cancer care that empowers you at Community Health Network MD Anderson Cancer Center, with leading-edge treatment options right in your backyard.
I feel blessed and lucky. If I knew someone that was going through what I was going through, I would definitely encourage them to participate in a clinical trial. For me, it was life-changing.
Learn more at ecommunity.com/cancer.
An official message from Medicare.
Medicare plans change from one year to the next. And this year, it's important for you to review your current coverage and compare all your options during Medicare open enrollment. Compare health plans, drug coverage, and costs. See if you can save some money, and don't forget to make sure your drugs are covered. Open enrollment ends December 7th. Visit Medicare.gov or call 1-800-MEDICARE.
Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
It's a new season of high-speed, high-flying Pacers basketball.
Neesmith in the lane, pound it, and put him on the line.
Are you ready to bring the energy?
7, McConnell takes the lane and gives it to Turner. And with tremendous force, slams it with the right hand.
Your Pacers look to perform their own magic when they meet Orlando Wednesday at 7. Tickets at Pacers.com/tickets. Pacers Magic, Wednesday at 7.
Coming up in 2 minutes, Donnie Burgess reports on some slow moving in the Delphi murders trial. Plus, you don't have much longer to cast your early ballot, and it's time for college hoops. The season begins tonight for a couple teams. I'm Kurt Darling. That and more coming up from the Technology Recyclers Studios after Fox News Radio. You're listening to 93 WIBC, WIBC HD1 Indianapolis. It's 11 o'clock.
They're working overtime, campaigning one last day. I'm Dave Anthony, Fox News.
Hello, beautiful, beautiful North Carolina.
Former President Trump at a rally in Raleigh that started a few minutes ago.
If we get everybody out and vote, there's not a thing they can do. And if we don't, they have to get every person that ever signed anything in that horrendously dangerous party that's going to destroy our country.
Well, the former president will finish the day rallying in Grand Rapids, Michigan, and will also campaign in Reading and Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. Vice President Harris will be in some of those same places, only campaigning in Pennsylvania today.
She'll start by door knocking in Scranton, President Biden's hometown, before coming to a rally here in Allentown. She'll then make a campaign stop in Reading, Pennsylvania, with AOC and Pennsylvania's Governor Josh Shapiro, before ending today with two major rallies and concerts in Pittsburgh and in Philadelphia, featuring stars like Lady Gaga and Oprah.
That's Fox's Brian Yennis. Nearly 78 million Americans have already voted early, almost half the number of total votes from 2020, and that number is going to keep rising.
Voters in 10 states are still able to cast in-person ballots today. Alaska, Arkansas, Colorado, Iowa, Indiana, Missouri, Montana, Rhode Island, and Wyoming.
Fox's Evan Brownhouse and Senate races are also on ballots. Republican Senator Rick Scott facing a tough challenge in Florida, but he tells Fox early voting numbers are good for him.
Republicans have way outpaced Democrats so far.
However, as Fox's Steve Harrigan reports from Naples, Florida, Democrat Debbie Mukersell-Powell could get some help from issues on the ballot.
One is an abortion initiative. It would extend Florida's strict abortion ban from 6 weeks to roughly 24 weeks. The second would be legalizing recreational marijuana. Both of these ballot initiatives would need 60% to win.
America's listening to Fox News.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Sitting and waiting. Rain all over radar to the west. It's 67 downtown. I'm Kirk Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:02. Those were the only options for a Delphi trial at day 14. Donnie Burgess explains.
The defense team representing Richard Allen entered 15 camcorder videos into evidence. Each video showed Allen in Westville Prison and some of the conditions he faced while locked up there early last year. However, the defense turned the courtroom TV away from the audience so only the jury could see, out of respect for their client, they said. A few reporters managed to get a peek at the defense's laptop and saw videos of Allen naked, dragged by police, restrained to a wheelchair, and more. Allen is charged with 4 counts of murder. Donnie Burgess, 93 WIBC Mobile News.
Early voting comes to an end in less than an hour now throughout the state. After that, the polls open at 6 a.m. tomorrow for Election Day, and they close at 6 p.m. And if you're in line at least at 6 p.m., you will be able to vote. Some things will change for certain business sectors, no matter who becomes Indiana's next governor, so says Gary Dick with Inside Indiana Business.
I think you're going to see a move to tweak some things, like to make it tax advantages for tech-related and tech-based companies around the state of Indiana. Rural economic development is going to be a big issue. That's in small-town Indiana.
He tells WIBC's Tony Katz that basic concerns from business owners are up for discussion with the next administration, but he's unsure what major changes the next governor might make. A teenage boy hurt in a shooting at a house party on the east side on Sunday. The shots were fired at a home in East Warren along East 13th Street. Details of what led to the shooting are scarce. The Purdue Boilermakers also begin action tonight against Texas A&M Corpus Christi. Head coach Matt Painter on still trying to figure out who and what his team is this year.
I think a lot of people, especially coaches, you try to talk your identity into existence. That just doesn't work. Like, you got to work your way.
Tip-off tonight at 6 o'clock. 45 minutes after that, the Butler Bulldogs also begin their season against Missouri State at home. I'm Kirk Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WIBC.com.
Hey, Bill, where you been? You're overdue for a haircut.
Man, listen, my water pipes burst and flooded my house. Place a mess. I've been staying with my daughter till I can figure out what to do.
You trying to fix it and move back in?
No way. It's too big a mess. It'll cost me tens of thousands of dollars. I ain't got that kind of money.
You trying to sell it then?
Well, that's what I'd like to do, but who's going to buy my house in this condition?
Did you call Simple Quarters?
Simple Quarters?
Simple Quarters bought our house when we were in a jam. We needed to move real quick. They closed fast and gave us cash.
Simple Quarters will buy in any condition?
That's right. They buy as is. You don't have to repair anything or clean anything out. It's simple.
What do I have to do?
Just call them. They'll do a quick walkthrough, then they'll make you an offer.
Simple Quarters is a local Christian company that loves to help people in difficult situations.
Call Simple Quarters at 317-900-HOME. That's 317-900-HOME. Check us out at simplequarters.com.
This hour on 93 WIBC is powered by B&W HVAC, Plumbing and Electrical, your American Standard air dealer.
You're listening to Rob Kendall.
When we talk about sending money somewhere, we're talking about printing the money because we have no money.
And Casey Daniels.
My government would never lie to me, would they?
On 93 WIBC.
Good morning. It is Monday, November 4th. It's 5 minutes after 11. You're listening to Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC. So President Biden will not attend the United Nations Climate Summit. This is in Azerbaijan. It's later this year. This is his second consecutive year skipping the event. He did attend the first 2 years. So is this because he doesn't really have a commitment to climate action like we're led to believe he does?
He just quit, right? I mean, he has senioritis. He's biting babies in chicken suits at this point. He's saying he's going to smack Republicans in the ass. Like,
Wait, what? He said that?
Do we have that audio?
We do.
Oh, we do.
Let's play it. Here it is.
I'm serious. These are the kind of guys you like to smack in the ass.
Like what?
He's provoking people, huh?
Well, I mean, it's the equivalent of senioritis, right? It's the equivalent of they took it from me. He's cognizant enough to know that they stole the presidency from him, probably leveraged around the idea of we all know the dirt on you and your son, and if you're not out of here, we'll allow them to take you down. And so he knows, right? So he doesn't care, and clearly he's not putting any effort into it. What does he do on a daily basis? He can't even go on a what was that thing he went on where he called
the Zoom call?
The country garbage? It's just, I mean, the guy's a complete train wreck, and so would you want him going anywhere? I mean, isn't the country better with him just not going?
If he just go back down into the basement. Okay, so he didn't attend 2023's COP28 summit in Dubai. They sent Kamala Harris in his place. This year, the White House won't clarify whether she's going to attend this year. Of course, she's in the middle of campaigning for just a few more hours. But back to Joe Biden. He's angry, and he wants you to know about it.
Don't forget where you came from. Don't forget who you're with. I mean it. I'm not joking.
Doesn't that sound like Dana Carvey? Doing an impression
Can we
of
listen to
him?
that again? That's great. Kev, can you play that again?
Don't forget where you came from. Don't forget who you're with. I mean it. I'm not joking.
I mean it. I'm not joking. I mean it. I'm not joking. Nobody thinks you are joking, Grandpa. You're pissed off. Everybody gets it.
Okay, so this happened. I believe it was Friday. Yeah, and just keep in mind, Kamala covered up this decline, hid it from the American people for years, lied about it repeatedly, and now she's asking for a promotion. But listen to this.
Remember the last guy when he was president, he said he had every week we're gonna have infrastructure week.
What?
Can we do that again? I need to keep track of all that.
Remember the last guy when he was president, he said he had every week we're gonna have infrastructure week.
What?
Well, exactly. What is he talking about? So here's the good news. You've had to put up with all the political rhetoric, everything you've heard. Like the people in Pittsburgh were subjected to 2,300 political ads for the typical household. Guess what? We know the direction hopefully after tomorrow. And the good part, he'll be gone.
This is the question I asked myself because like I said, I watched the Penn State game on Saturday. Ohio State, that's obviously a swing state, Pennsylvania, and then you had the Lions and the Lions and the Packers, two swing states, and then you had Dallas and Atlanta, that's a swing state, Georgia. So I got to see quite a few of the Kamala Harris ads. And by the way, I thought the Trump ad was excellent. Take away that I'm a Trump voter. I thought the ad, the tone of the ad, the tenor of the ad, the thing with him with fight, I thought that was really well done, especially you're catering to men, right? Like that's the last push for men. But I do wonder with Kamala now, keep in mind, in a place like Pennsylvania, they elected a guy who started out, hi, good night, everybody. So we're really scratching on the idea that competence is a thing. But how do you vote for her if you're remotely dissatisfied with the direction of the country, which clearly a clear majority of the American people are dissatisfied with the direction of the country? How do you possibly square when she's been there for 4 years? And I love the people on social media. Apparently you don't understand civics. She's not the president. No, she's the vice president. And she has sat there and she has been a cheerleader for this guy and everything he's done. And she was a part of the chorus at the convention of he's one of the greatest presidents of all time. So she clearly agrees with all of this. I understand how civics work. How do you say, I want 4 more years of this because she is him? What's the Beatles line go? I am he and you are me and we are all together now? Like, is it something like that? I mean, how do you possibly distinguish between these two people?
When she has said repeatedly that there's no daylight between them and that she would not have changed anything. And were there any mistakes? Nope, none that I can think of. You had mentioned, maybe we were talking off the air about this, how Trump and J.D. Vance, they're going to New Hampshire.
Well, this is interesting. So the close to me is fascinating because I think actions tell you a lot about the people. And I'll give you 2 examples of this. One was in 2012. Everybody thought Romney was going to win. And I said at the time, no way. I said Obama's going to win because he went home and played basketball the night before. And I said if he does that, he knows it's over. He's won. He's not even trying. Okay. Then in 2020, people kept saying, well, Biden won't even leave his basement. How could he win? And I said, because he has data that shows he doesn't have to leave his basement. And ultimately he was, whether he got more votes or not, he is the president of the United States. And so if you look at behavior, and Hillary didn't campaign because her internal data, now it was proven to be incorrect because they didn't poll right, showed that she was way ahead. And where did Trump go? He was in Michigan. But in the closing days, yesterday and then today, Trump's in Virginia and New Hampshire, and J.D. Vance is in New Hampshire. And I honestly don't know what to make of that because it tells me either one of 2 things. Either they have internals that show them ahead in at least one of these swing states. They cannot win the presidency without one of the blue firewall states, Wisconsin, Michigan, Pennsylvania. And the fact that every single second is not being spent in one of those 3 says either A, they have data that shows them ahead in one of them to the point where they think they've got it, or, and they're just trying to run up the score, they're trying to find somebody somewhere else, or they're behind in all these to the point where they say, we got to find a miracle somewhere. That's the only 2 logical things that could be happening here with the fact that they are in New Hampshire and Virginia, because both of those states have, for the most part, been outside the margin of error.
Well, I think maybe they're finding that Virginia is possibly in play, but I'm wondering if the New Hampshire trip isn't in support of Lily Tang Williams.
It could be, but at this point, you're running for president. It's no offense to any of these down ballot Senate races or governor's races or whatever.
Yeah.
You know, you do like you did for Braun. Hey, you got 5 minutes on the telephone. Here you go. You know, thank you. Have a nice day. You're not sending your candidates there unless you think they've got a chance to pull that. Because let's face it, Trump don't give 2 you-know-whats about anybody but Trump when you get right down to it, right?
Yeah.
I mean, if he thought that, he lost Pennsylvania by 50,000 votes and he did a rally in New Hampshire there's something going on with that, and I'm not pretending to know what it is, but that is very telling one way or the other that they are not in. Well, I mean, they're going to be in there, but they're not spending all the time in one of those 3 blue wall states.
This was interesting. I don't know if you caught this. It was a debate between Democrat and Republican. Democrat is the wife of the National Security Advisor, Jake Sullivan. His wife is running, and she's going up against this Republican, Lily Tang Williams, and they were having this debate, and the Democrat just gets schooled by this Republican. Check it out.
This is a worldview that my opponent has embraced. She believes that we should give a break to the wealthiest and the biggest corporations and hope for the best, hope that the results will trickle down to hardworking people. I take a very different approach. I believe that the middle class deserves a tax cut, and I believe that we will do a lot for this country by ensuring that we don't continue this disastrous tax policy.
Ms. Tang Williams. You are wealthy. You are worth $20 million to $30 million. How do you know about regular people suffering? Do you go shopping, go to Walmart, buy food? I talk to those people. And you pretend to be renter in Nashua a few months ago, moved back to run for this open seat with millions of dollars from Washington, D.C. insiders. And the millions of dollars, I don't have money to run a TV ad. And you pretend you are poor, complain rent is so high. You couldn't save that apartment for other people to rent in Nashua. Just go back to your $2 million home in Portsmouth. Please don't say that, because you do not understand regular people's concern. People cry in my arms on District 2.
So that incident happened during a New Hampshire congressional debate. And that I thought it was great because here she is. She's an immigrant and she's now a citizen. And she's saying, you are wealthy. What are you talking about? You're worth $20 to $30 million. You live in a $2 million home. You can't understand what is going on with regular people.
Well, and this is, I think, one of the things that people need to realize is the majority of these people on both sides, they don't care about you at all. Like they really don't. I mean, they're not. I mean, you can vote for whatever side you think is most aligned with whatever, I guess, you want. But like these Kamala Harris ads, I think they're fascinating because there's really nothing about what she's going to do to help people. Like the ad, it's like some trucker guy. She cares about the middle class. Trump likes millionaires. Mm-hmm. Okay, what is she going to do? They won't tell you, right? There is no plan on any of this, and so. I think one of the really scary things about what's going to happen tomorrow is if Kamala Harris wins, it will be a campaign centered around the ability to slaughter innocent babies in the womb. And that's a really scary, because she's offered nothing. And this whole thing is, well, women this and women that. If we're living in a country where the majority of women are voting based on the ability to slaughter innocent living babies in the womb, we've got much bigger problems than applicable tax rates or even the southern border or foreign policy. I mean, if that's your jam, if that's your bag, you really need to take a long, hard look in the mirror if that's your thing. And so we're going to find out tomorrow if we are a culture that values life or if we are a culture that lusts after death. And I'm very concerned about what those results might be.
Can we play the male version of the secret vote ad? It's coming up. It goes to the point that you're making right now. We'll get to that coming up from 93 WIBC.
Finally, a sports betting podcast for real dudes, not these male Kardashians that you see on television. The Degenerates Next Door Sports Betting Podcast. We do all the homework, we do it for free, and we don't wear skinny jeans.
The Degenerates Next Door. Subscribe wherever you get your podcast. Download today The Degenerates Next Door.
If you have a gambling problem, call 1-800-9-WITH-IT.
Hi, friends. This is Patty Spittler with Pet Pals TV. I'm very comfortable in front of the camera, but the telephone can intimidate me. Because of my hearing loss, I can't hear well on a regular telephone. Now, with my Cap telephone, I'm making contacts in a busy world. My caption telephone through Relay Indiana allows me to read what the other person is saying. Go to RelayIndiana.com to learn more about CapTel, the caption telephone. Read what you're hearing.
An official message from Medicare.
Couple more minutes, and we'll start this month's book club.
I usually love a plot twist, but this year, I'm comparing my options during Medicare open enrollment.
You can't assume your current health or drug plan is the best one for you.
And you gotta make sure your drugs are covered. That's important.
So is saving money.
Review all your options at Medicare.gov. Open enrollment ends December 7th. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services. An official message from Medicare.
Couple more minutes, and we'll start this month's book club.
I usually love a plot twist, but this year, I'm comparing my options during Medicare open enrollment.
You can't assume your current health or drug plan is the best one for you.
And you gotta make sure your drugs are covered. That's important.
So is saving money.
Review all your options at Medicare.gov. Open enrollment ends December 7th. Paid for by the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Can you hear me? So can your customers. Get your message heard. Text business to 71007 now. Get results with Radio 1.
B's offering our Black Friday sale, 52% off, plus 10% manufacturer rebates and 18 months, no interest, no payments.
Those who don't have 20/20 vision usually do something about it. But many who can't breathe freely through their nose just live with it, not realizing they can have 20/20 breathing. At Advent, we're out to change that. With 20/20 breathing, you'll have fewer sinus infections, more energy, you'll sleep better, and you will live better. I'm Dr. Madan Kandula. In 2006, Advent pioneered the balloon sinuplasty procedure. And since, thousands of our patients can tell you, this simple 20-minute in-office solution really works. Balloon sinuplasty can give you 20/20 breathing so you can breathe freely through both nostrils with your mouth closed day and night. And that can change your life.
Go to adventknows.com to schedule your appointment because Advent knows when you breathe well, you live better. Results may vary.
I've been smiling lately, dreaming about the world as one.
So Kamala Harris made a surprise appearance on Saturday Night Live in the final days before the presidential election. She could not find the time to be on the Joe Rogan podcast yet. She had a minute and a half to go on Saturday Night Live.
Well, okay, so real quick, let's just point one thing out, and that is Kev has really stepped up his game today with the Cat Stevens. So we always like to point out when Kev does a nice job. So thank you for that. Look, and before I get any crap from people about Cat Stevens, look, Cat Stevens was awesome in the 70s. Kind of, went off the rails a little bit later, but, he was awesome in the 70s, and any honest broker of music from that period is going to tell you as such. Okay, what are we talking about here?
How Kamala Harris was on Saturday Night Live.
Oh, yeah. So, okay, so the question is, obviously now there was controversy over this, where one of the commissioners for the FCC came out and said that's a violation, or thinks he thought it would be interpreted as a violation of the equal time statute.
Yep.
Now, my question, though, because people are asking me about this. Now, the equal time statute, look, you're not going to prison over this. And what would Trump, it's not some sort of criminal accusation. It's that within a certain period of an election, if you have a candidate on, this is your management, so you know this better than I do, but if you have a candidate for public office on, then the other candidate has the right to ask for equal time within a certain window, right?
Yeah, and Brendan Carr, the FCC commissioner, said it was a clear and blatant effort to evade the rule that was designed to keep this sort of biased and partisan conduct from happening.
Now, most of the time, the candidate has to ask for it, is my understanding, and a lot of times they won't because, let's face it, there's just certain, Democrats aren't going to go on Republican shows, because it's like, if someone were to, want to come on, I don't even know, like Tony Katz has had Mike Braun on. Well, he's tried to get Jennifer McCormick on. She won't come on. She could ask for equal time, but clearly she doesn't want to do the thing with Tony Katz because she doesn't think it's going to go well for her, right?
Yeah, okay, and some people have been saying, well, Trump's been all over Fox News, and, okay, Fox News is a cable company.
Right.
Doesn't count. And as far as I believe, I may be incorrect, but I believe NBC is a network. So actually who this affects is the local NBC stations and affiliates. It's not the network, it's the affiliates who aired it.
Yeah, and so what, they played some Trump announcement? Is that what they did as a makeup, or?
They played a 90-second commercial during one of the football games.
Yeah, which actually, look, if I'm done...
If those NBC affiliates aired that football game, they're even Steven.
Sunday Night Football.
Yeah.
So if I'm Trump, I got the better end of that bargain because, okay, what are 10 people left watching Saturday Night Live?
Well, and he was targeting the demo he wanted in football.
Well, right. What a deal for him because all those Saturday Night Live people have already either voted or they're Kamala voters anyway. I mean, there's very few people out there that are like, well, I was undecided, and then I saw Kamala on Saturday Night Live, so let me in. And it's midnight or, whenever that comes on now. I would every single day of the week take an ad in Sunday Night Football, and the massive audience the NFL has over the over Kamala Harris being on
He
Saturday
got the better
Night
deal
Live. Oh, totally,
in that. Yeah.
100%.
Okay, so they did a male version of the secret vote ad, and here it is.
Come on, boys. Let's make America great again. It's your turn, buddy.
Before you cast your vote in this election, think about how it'll impact the people you care about the most.
Daddy!
Remember, you can vote any way you want, and no one will ever know.
Do your patriotic duty?
You bet I did, brother. What happens in the booth stays in the booth. Vote Harris Walls.
Paid for by Vote Common Good.
Isn't it crazy that the Democrat strategy heading into the election is lie to everyone around you?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
Like just lie to everyone around you. First it was wives lie to your husbands.
Mm-hmm.
Then it turns into men lie to your friends.
Mm-hmm.
And then they've got these bizarre sex ads that they're running for the Democrats, which are super weird. Like, this is just the party of depravity at this point. It's self-pleasuring and lie to your spouses and your friends. I mean, like, what are we? I mean, this is the Democrat Party.
Well, again, and back to your point, because this ad, they don't outright say it, but they allude to the fact that this guy's going to go in the voting booth and he's with his buddies and they're like, yeah, we're going to go vote MAGA. And then he gets in there and he looks at his daughter and he says, no, I'm going to vote for my daughter's future based on
what?
Exactly, because
food, the price of food?
Because
that she doesn't end up like
cannot affect anything about abortion.
Well, that's the crazy thing about the whole abortion thing, and you're spot on, Casey, which is, again, there are no intellectually honest brokers left, but the reality is that is now a choice of the states. There's either way, there's not going to be 60 votes to do anything with the national abortion ban or recognizing national abortion rights. Republicans are going to have the Senate. That is not moving forward, and there's not going to be 60 votes to have a national abortion ban. Like, anybody is remotely honest, which they're not, would say this is a non-issue, we're done here. And by the way, again, as a father, your vote is not that your daughter you'll be able to afford food for your kid, or that to keep illegal immigrants out so your daughter doesn't end up like Lake and Riley.
Right.
Your thing is, I want my daughter to be able to suck the brains out of a defenseless fetus so I don't have grandkids someday. I'm voting for my daughter. What sort of sick planet are we living on?
Yeah, none of it makes any sense. But before we get into the news, there's one last audio clip that I wanted to play for you. I don't know if you heard this one because it dropped late last night. Here is the husband of Kamala Harris, Doug Emhoff, and he's talking about...
I did.
So you know where it's going?
So good.
You know where it's
this
going?
is perfect, yes.
Okay. He's talking about pretty much Harris's work ethic and what she does.
Kamala did what Kamala always does. She just put her head down and she went to work.
Hey, he said it, not me.
I don't even know if I can say what I want to
Totally.
say.
He said it.
Kevin, play it again, can you?
Kamala did what Kamala always does. She just put her head down and she went to work.
And then brought it up and then put it down again.
Well.
What?
Hot dang.
It's Kendall Casey on 93 WIBC.
Holidays will be here before we know it. Maybe you've already started shopping for someone on your list. AAA Hoosier Motor Club inviting you to join them, help make sure some local kids in need get gifts through the Toys for Tots program. AAA giving you the chance to send a holiday message of hope to Central Indy's less fortunate kids.
And as a thank you for donating to Toys for Tots, current AAA members will receive 25% off any merchandise in the travel store or adding someone to your AAA membership featuring their fabulous 24/7, 365 days a year roadside assistance for just $25. And non-members who donate will have the opportunity for early access to a special holiday offer, a classic AAA membership for just $50. Help local children in need this holiday season and secure your peace of mind with a AAA membership. Donate to Toys for Tots at AAA. Visit AAA.com or find the AAA store near you.
93 WIBC Mobile News. On the level, on the go.
Campaigning to divide and conquer. I'm Kurt Darling. Here's what's trending at 11:30. Both candidates for vice president are in Wisconsin holding rallies. Earlier today, J.D. Vance spoke in La Crosse, Wisconsin.
The Secret Service told me that, I guess Tim Walz is going to be here in the state of Wisconsin. I'm sorry about that. I know we're close to Minnesota, so you guys know Governor Tim Walz well.
Kamala Harris is leading in Wisconsin, according to the latest polling data. Both Harris and Donald Trump are hitting Pennsylvania and North Carolina today. The Justice Department says they'll be monitoring voting in 27 states on Election Day tomorrow. The department says it plans to monitor compliance with federal civil rights laws. The monitors will be in a total of 86 jurisdictions from Alaska to Arizona and Georgia to New Jersey. I'm Kurt Darling, on the level, on the go, and on WYBC.com.
Garage door problems? Call today for service today. Garage Doors of Indianapolis services all makes of garage doors 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Call today for service today. 875-4577. Call today for service today. Get it fixed right now. Call Garage Doors of Indianapolis at 875-4577 or visit doorstoday.com.
In the morning, call 875-4577.
Service today?
Today.
It's just alcohol. Everybody drinks. You may have already heard this statement from your teen. I'm Tammy Silverman with Indiana Youth Institute. Alcohol is the substance most commonly abused by teens. Survey data shows that 2 in 10 Indiana high school students reported drinking in the past month, and more than half of Hoosier teens say it would be easy to get alcohol. How do you talk with your teen about alcohol use, especially if they see peers or adults drinking? First, understand that your child may point out contradictions in our society's views on alcohol. It's okay to acknowledge those facts. Talk with your teen about the many risks of alcohol use. During your conversation, you can both validate their views and uphold your family values. You are the first line of defense against alcohol abuse, so don't be afraid to talk to your teen. What you say has a big influence on their decision to drink or not. This Kids Count Minute is a message from Indiana Youth Institute. For more parent tips, visit IYI.org.
Kids count on you.
BW HVAC Plumbing and Electrical is here to make the fall cozy, comfortable, and hassle-free. Go to bplusw.com/radio to schedule your appointment today. B&W is your independent American Standard Air dealer.
You're listening to the Kendall and Casey Show on 93 WIBC.
Piers Morgan wrote a column for The Sun in London, and he said this week is very much like when Sinatra was thrown to the wolves in the late 40s. I thought he said some interesting things when he was on with Brian Kilmeade on Fox on Saturday, and it's interesting to see what a reporter or talking head, somebody who is not American, thinks about what is going on with this election. So let's listen to what he had to say. Remember all of this?
I think it's fascinating. It's electrifying, right? The whole world is watching this election. I remember a period about 5 months ago when everyone feared it might be the most boring race in history. 2 old guys duking it out again. How wrong were we? We've had 2 assassination attempts. We've had Trump in a garbage truck, Trump in McDonald's, like you said. We've had Joe Biden getting assassinated politically by his own party and replaced by Kamala Harris, and so on. And now it's like on a knife edge, isn't it? I mean, you look at all these swing states, and really, you can't call any of them with any great authority. You know, tonight there's an outlier poll about Iowa that shows maybe Harris is up there. I don't believe that. It was 50.
Okay, so he goes on to say he was asked who has the momentum currently, and Piers thinks it belongs with Trump.
Look, my gut feeling, and I had this in 2016, and when I was saying it and writing it in 2016, people were laughing at me. But I kept saying, I'm getting a feeling that the Trump train is steaming to victory. I get that feeling again now. I've been in LA, I've been in New York. I'm getting a lot of people who did not vote Trump last time, but who are prepared this time, even if they don't like him, they're prepared to vote for him this time to stop Kamala Harris becoming president. I'm going on my gut, and I'm feeling he could actually end up winning quite big.
Okay, and then he goes on to talk about how Trump is the comeback king, and he compares Trump to Tiger Woods.
I would compare it, actually, to what happened with Tiger Woods in golf. Tiger Woods was finished. He was number 1,100 in the world. Everyone was writing him off. The golf world, the celebrity world. He was done, toast, finished, kaput. And what happened? Tiger Woods didn't get the memo. and he fought back and he won the Masters in 2019, greatest comeback in the history of sport. If Trump pulls this off, and it is obviously incredibly close, but I think he will pull this off. And if he does, it is the greatest comeback in the history of politics. He becomes the Tiger Woods of politics. And it would be an extraordinary thing. We can remember, can't we? Start of 2022, it was over. You know, Ron DeSantis was surging away in the polls for the Republican nominee, and Trump was gone, done. Look at him now. It's incredible.
He was by.
So America loves a comeback story. Isn't that one of our favorite pastimes, is build somebody up, break them down just to watch them build back up again? You're making a face. You don't agree with the Tiger Woods comparison.
Well, he invoked golf, Casey.
I know.
So, okay, so first of all, he's right, and we've said this numerous times from the standpoint of if Trump wins, it'll arguably be the greatest story in American political history, given what Trump went through, and he's right about that. However, and I realize I'm splitting hairs here, but when Tiger Woods won the Masters in 2019, he was 40, he'd have been 43-ish years old, which by golf standards by no means makes you over the hill. Yes, he had not been playing well, but he was playing at a course in Augusta that is his all-time favorite course. He's always played it well. He's won the tournament many, many times. I would certainly make a case that Jack Nicklaus winning the Masters at 46 years old in 1986 was a far bigger upset than Tiger Woods, who, by the way, had everything fall his way in 2019, up to and including that round started early because of the threat of inclement weather, which definitely ended up helping him, and he got a lot of breaks along the way. So he did golf, and so that sticks in my craw because I don't think that's anywhere. Tom Watson at 60 years old, almost winning the British Open in 2008 or 2009, whenever that was a much bigger. Anyway, sorry, I just got derailed by that because that makes me mad.
You had to weigh in because it's golf.
I just don't think Tiger Woods was still a guy who every time he went out there, people were like, Tiger could do it, especially at Augusta.
But the point is that, I know. If you think about where we started, and, Trump didn't he barely go to Iowa, he just was sitting in Florida, and all of these cases were being run up against him. You started with the mugshot. You thought, this guy is dead in the water. And now look where he is now. So to say he is the comeback king politically, yeah.
Oh, it is.
That's absolutely true.
Remember when, I don't know, this was what? We're doing so well now. It's hard to remember the past. But remember in April or May, we had a meeting with our bosses, and they're like, hey,
people are done with this politics talk.
Yeah, we got to figure out a new strategy on how we talk about this because people are just over Biden and Trump, and you guys got to figure out we as a collective have got to figure out a new way to talk about this and make it entertaining. And then obviously the assassination attempt, Biden gets out, and now it's all people want to talk. Did you know we're number one?
Yes,
I
heard that.
Not just the show, the radio station itself, number one in the ratings, unheard of for a talk radio station. But anyway, and our audience is we're talking about our audience when we talk about us being number one. But the point is, it shows the amount of interest that there actually has become in this, that we're doing unprecedented things here because of the interest in this presidential race. And Trump threw it his entire life. The guy lost $1 billion, Casey.
He flies around in his own plane right now. That's amazing that he goes to all of these rallies, and it's his own jet that he's using.
The guy lost $1 billion. He made $1 billion. He lost $1 billion. There's that famous thing where he sees the guy, this was years and years and years ago, he sees the guy on the street, the homeless guy, and he goes, whatever supermodel he was walking with, and he said, you see that guy right there? That guy's worth more than me. Obviously, he's, not in reality, but he had lost so much, and then he came back and made it back again and becomes this huge reality TV star. The guy does unbelievable work with his back up against the wall. I've never seen anything like it.
By the way, I voted on Friday, and if you're curious, it went Trump, Braun and Beckwith, and Rokita. I left something blank.
Another vote against Destiny Wells. Hot dang!
All right, predictions coming out from 93 WIBC.
Hammer and Nigel Show, 3:06 this afternoon. It's election eve. Remember, kids, put out your stockings and Mike Braun might come down your chimney. 3 to 7, 93 WIBC.
Have you heard about this guy, Donald Rainwater?
I sure have. Guy was a deadbeat dad. Total loser. Not only did Rainwater repeatedly fail to pay his child support, he filed for bankruptcy. and had his car repossessed. But what did a court find he spent the money on? Cigarettes.
Hasn't he run for office twice before and lost each time?
Sure has. Maybe that's why he wants the job, so taxpayers pay off all his debts.
But there's someone even worse than Rainwater. This Jennifer McCormick character is a really out there liberal.
Yeah, she's a pro-Biden and pro-Kamala liberal. She opposed school choice, she supports boys in the girls' locker room, and did you hear what she said about Hillary Clinton?
Did you vote for Hillary Clinton?
She had some great, world foreign experience. So I did vote for Hillary Clinton.
Jennifer McCormick, she's hopelessly liberal.
I'm not voting for Rainwater or McCormick. They're both losers in my book.
Paid for by Indiana Republican State Committee, Inc. Choosing the right candidates for any office can be difficult.
My office has lots of drama.
My office has its ups and downs.
I share my office. But no matter what kind of office you have, one thing's for certain. If you're hiring, you need ZipRecruiter. ZipRecruiter's powerful matching technology finds the most qualified candidates for your roles fast, and you can invite your top choices to apply. In fact, 4 out of 5 employers who post on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. So, for any kind of office,
I'm really going places in my office.
My office has everything you could ever want.
count on ZipRecruiter to find the right candidates for it. Try ZipRecruiter for free today at ZipRecruiter.com/free. That's ZipRecruiter.com/free. ZipRecruiter.com/free.
Jennifer McCormick couldn't name a single thing she disagreed with Hillary Clinton on. That's because, just like Hillary, McCormick backed failed liberal policies. She endorsed Bidenomics, said she'd be honored to serve in Biden's administration. She opposed school choice, and she even supports biological boys playing girls' sports.
Did you vote for Hillary Clinton?
I did vote for Hillary Clinton. She had some great, world foreign policy experience. So, I did vote for Hillary Clinton.
It gets worse. Here's what Jennifer McCormick says about Donald Trump.
I cannot get behind that. Never voted for Trump, never will vote for Trump, never was behind Trump, never will be behind Trump. I just cannot get behind a party who is behind that type of leadership. To me, it's nonsensical.
Jennifer McCormick, hopelessly liberal. Paid for by Mike Braun for Indiana.
Life can be full of risks. One thing you shouldn't take a risk with ever is your family's health insurance. If you're self-employed or you now need affordable health insurance, you need to make this free call right now and see how the Health Insurance Helpline can help you get it. We specialize in helping the self-employed and people just like you that need affordable health insurance to get it. We have short and long-term health insurance plans, and some even cover dental, vision, and prescription drugs. Don't take a risk with your family's health insurance. It's not worth it. If you're self-employed or now need affordable health insurance, call right now and learn for free how to get it. Listen, affordable health insurance plans for everyone just like you are a free phone call away. So give us a shout right now.
800-659-7540. 800-659-7540. 800-659-7540. That's 800-659-7540.
Pat Sullivan here. Fire emergency? I've had one. If you do, call Michaelis. Owner Richard Michaelis explains why.
Michaelis is local and family owned. 39 years of experience with 24/7, 365 response. The Michaelis Corporation is IICRC certified, restoring your home or business to pre-loss condition or better.
And Michaelis helps you through the insurance process, giving you peace of mind. Water, storms, fire, and mold. Life happens. Michaelis happens to help you through it. Text or call 844-FIX-INDY.
Tailgate this Sunday from 10 to 1 at the parking lot at McCarty and Church Street before the Colts-Bills game, presented by Jack Daniels and Twin Peaks. Register to win tickets to the game and $100 in Colts cash from Bud Light. No purchase necessary.
The flag of piracy flew from my mast. My sails were set wing to wing. I had a jukebox.
All right, enough screwing around. It's time.
You know I voted on Friday?
Yes, we already went over that. Although we have new listeners coming in all the time.
Mm-hmm.
Did you know the station is number one?
I heard that. You're number one. I'm number one. Hammer and Nigel are number one. Tony Katz, he's in there somewhere.
It's Kendall and Casey show. I'm Rob Casey here. By the way, have you noticed how that's cooled off the nobody listens crowd?
Yeah, well, because it's not true.
You notice that?
Yeah.
They don't get mouthy like that anymore, but
Yes.
nobody listens. All right, so here we go.
Mm-hmm.
This is our last segment before Election Day.
Yeah.
And you gotta pick a winner.
Really?
Yeah, you gotta pick one.
I'm winning. I'm going to win.
Well, you're not running for president of the United States.
Oh, okay. You're talking about the election.
Yeah,
Who's going to win?
Like here.
I've heard the word landslide being thrown around only for Donald Trump.
Do you believe that?
I don't know. I don't believe anything I hear, right? At this point, if you listen to anything, you just have to know it's propaganda on either side. There's one person that I've heard, Mark Halperin.
Yeah.
He's a data guy, polling expert. He's the only one who I feel like is just really trying to crunch numbers and is not promoting a message on either side.
Well, you and I talked about this earlier. I try to read the other side as much as I can because I've always felt like it really. Do you know we're number one?
Yeah.
So one of the things that helps us be number one is I understand how the other side thinks, and I think you get perspective on our show you don't get on other shows. And so when you read, and we've talked about this for weeks now, when you read, so one of the things I think people on our side make the mistake of, everybody I know, yeah, but there's a whole world out there.
Right.
I mean, this is a 50-50 election, right?
Mm-hmm.
There's a whole world out there of people who are bizarro world you.
Yeah, and if you're just stuck in your own little bubble and surrounding yourself with people of common interest, of course you're stuck in the echo chamber. You're going to think everybody thinks like me, right?
And then there's another side so I read the other side.
Mm-hmm. And they think the exact same thing.
Right. So I try to parse through, like, on our side, I can read somebody and go, oh, that's crap.
Yeah.
But then I read the other side, and it looks just as much crap, but then it's so reinforced the same way ours is reinforced.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, do these people, is it really crap? The same way you question on your side.
Yeah.
And then you're like, do these people know?
Yeah. I don't think anybody knows except for maybe the candidates who have some internal polling. Seen a lot of grumblings about worry and stress on the Harris side. And I've heard the word landslide being thrown around with Trump. And so you just don't know. Okay. I do believe that it's going to come down to the male voters.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, by male, you mean like MALE.
Yes.
Men.
Dudes, men.
Yeah.
Yes.
Tomorrow,
Yes.
men have to show up and vote.
Yeah.
If men do not show up and vote, he will lose, he being Trump.
Mm-hmm.
If men do show up and vote, there's probably a decent chance he's going to win. Like, he's banked everything on dudes.
Mm-hmm.
It's black men, Hispanic men, young men. Are those people going to show up and vote on Election Day?
Yeah. If they don't show up, it's going to be pretty tight. If they do show up, I don't think it'll be close. And isn't that what this country needs?
Yeah.
We need it to be quick and decisive so that there's no questions, there's no lawsuits, it doesn't get drug out for weeks. Like, I want a quick win.
Okay, so
that's what I want, Rob.
Yeah, you're dodging the question here. So let's work through this. All right. So I think he's going to win Arizona, Georgia, North Carolina. I think most people agree with that. Like, I haven't seen much pushback from really much of anyone.
Yeah.
That those states, based on how early voting has gone and the makeup of the state and the issues of the state, he's going to get those three.
Yeah. I don't think Georgia's even in question at this point.
So then it goes to Nevada. Now, all data so far shows he should win Nevada. I forget the guy's name, but there's a big newspaper guy down there that always is sort of like the guy they go to. He's very fair. He calls it both ways. He has basically said it's Trump's. However, it's a Democrat state.
Yeah.
So the idea, or has been since Bush won re-election, so for 20 years it's been a Democrat state. The idea that he could win that state and sort of with any sort of relative ease is really interesting. But let's give him Nevada.
Okay.
So we're going to give Trump Nevada. We're going to give Trump Arizona, Georgia, and North Carolina.
Yeah.
All right. So the math.
So that's the blue wall that's left.
The math is if he gets those four, she's got to win all three. He's got to win one.
I don't think she's going to win all three.
Really?
Wisconsin, I think, is going to go to Trump, and If the men show up in Pennsylvania, I think it's also going to go to Trump.
So, Wisconsin,
and you had the Arab endorsement over the weekend in Detroit.
Can you imagine if you're? So I posted this on Twitter. You're in Michigan and you're rolling around with Liz Cheney, where Arab Americans are probably going to decide the outcome of that state.
Isn't that something?
Can you think of a worse person to the Arab American community to go, hey, look at us?
Right.
Some lady on Twitter was like, Liz Cheney is the queen. And I was like, there's about 1 billion people in the Middle East who have a one-word name for Liz Cheney, and it ain't queen, lady.
Queen's not it.
Okay, so you think he's going to win at least one of those?
Yes, I do. Oh, yeah.
Well, then it's over. You think Trump's going to win the presidency?
Yeah.
Really? Are you doing this with your heart?
Yeah. My heart and my head. Yeah, that's the way it's going to come down.
Okay.
What about you?
Well, so you're saying Trump's going to be the president?
I am, but I want it to be decisive.
Yeah, okay. So
I don't want it to be questioned.
Here's what's interesting.
I think that's best for the country.
Trump and Vance are both spending part of their final 2 days in Virginia.
Yes.
And in New Hampshire.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's one or two ways to take that. Either, because I was one of the few people who got 2012 right, because all these people are, Romney this, Romney that. I knew it was over the night before the election when Obama went home and played basketball.
Right,
I said
he was so confident.
Right, he's like, if he's going home and playing basketball and Romney's in Ohio and all these places, it don't matter. Like, if he's going home playing basketball, he knows it's over. And ultimately, that was proven correct. If Trump and Vance are in Virginia and New Hampshire, that's one of two things. Either they have data showing that they are ahead in one of those blue wall states beyond the margin of error, and they're going to win the presidency, and they're trying to run up the score, or they're behind, and they're trying to pick some miracle something somewhere up.
I think Virginia may be a little closer than what everybody originally thought.
It's a very weird thing that if you really believed that those three blue wall states were within the margin of error, one way or another, that you wouldn't be all your time being just, ping-ponging through those. So I look at that. Now, I said on Hammer and Nigel, I'm going to stay with it because I would look like, unlike some people who just change.
Flip-flop?
Just change. They come on our show and say one thing, and then they go on the internet and say another. I'm not going to do that.
Okay.
Because I would look like a hypocrite. I still don't believe the Republicans have figured out how to deal with the voting issue, which is like in Pennsylvania. You have no idea who's casting these ballots.
Yeah.
You're getting rulings like from the Supreme Court that will allow you. Like, you have to be a total moron to not know how to vote by mail. Like, it's the instructions are very clear. I voted by mail one time when I still had my radio station in North Carolina. That was, 15 years ago now or whatever. But I remember voting by mail. They send you the ballot. The instructions are there. Check, 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 check.
Right.
Fill this out, label this, put this in the mail, boom, done. If you cannot figure out how to do that, you're a moron. And Pennsylvania, they've ruled now, even if you are a moron and you screw up your ballot, you can go in there and vote on Election Day and cast a provisional ballot. What are we doing here?
Yeah.
The voting is totally rigged for morons, which favor the Democrats.
Well, I do believe the Republicans have stepped up their game in that area.
I think it's better, but so the Pennsylvania firewall is going to be, it's like at 406,000 starting today. What they believe are Democrats could be as much as 450. Can Trump win that state on Election Day by 500,000 votes? I'm just talking math here.
If men vote.
Well, that's my point. Like, if you believe Trump can win Pennsylvania on Election Day by 500,000 votes, then yeah, he can win Pennsylvania. If not, then you got a major issue because then you start getting squirrely in the court system. So I hope I'm wrong. God's got this, whatever it is.
Yeah.
I just don't think the Republicans have figured out the voting thing yet. And I think until you can have some measure of certainty on who's casting votes and, more importantly, who's counting votes.
Well, there you go.
I'll say Kamala Harris wins. I hope you're right.
Okay. You think she's going to win?
No, I said this on Hammer Nigel. I think he will get more actual votes than her. But I also think Trump got more actual votes than Biden in 2020.
Yeah.
Who was the president?
Right, exactly.
I was asked who the president would be.
So he's not just running against Kamala Harris. He's running against a machine and possibly running against fraud.
I think there is a serious issue when you have no idea who gets a ballot, who fills it out, who sends it back in,
and
more importantly, who's counting it, right?
Right.
And all of these states are Democrat governors
Right.
and Democrat secretaries of state. That means any jump balls are going to Kamala Harris.
Okay, so we've got the presidential race. Now let's go to the governor's race here in Indiana.
All right, real quick. Got to do this in about 2 minutes. I think Braun will win.
Yeah.
I think it's going to be somewhere between 5 and 8 points.
Okay.
If you had the over-under set at 8, I would probably go under. I think it'll be about 7.5-ish. I think Rokita is going to win by double digits, and Banks everybody's already declared him the winner. So
much so he didn't even debate.
You?
Oh, I think it's going to be Braun and probably Jim Banks. Yeah. The Rokita one, I think he'll do it only because he's getting help from the rest of the ticket.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's the thing. And I said this the other day. All of those people, Braun and Rokita, better thank their lucky stars that it was Donald Trump at the top of the ticket, not someone like Nikki Haley, because the enthusiasm for Trump is going to save those guys big time.
Yeah, I agree.
All right, that's it.
Okay, we'll see you tomorrow. Thanks, Rob. Thanks, Kevin. And thank you for listening. This has been Kendall and Casey on 93 WIBC.
Hoosiers need a fighter to protect our jobs.